Hello, everyone, and welcome to Formula Sim Racing Pro Series here from the circuit of Catalunya in Spain. It is round number 3 of this Pro Series, and I've got Chris Raby with me here today in the commentary booth. Are you with us, Chris?
Yeah, I'm Justin. It's nice to be here.
Really looking forward to this one, of course, a classic F1 circuit with some modifications to Sector 3. Of course, the drivers all getting a bit backed up in Sector 3 right now as we are in Q1 already, and the drivers are preparing to do their banker laps, I would imagine. But let's go through a little bit what happened last week. So last week it was David Cook that actually picked up the win. He is now tied with Mikhail Antohovsky at 43 points apiece, I believe is what they're sat at. Let me just double check on that. No, I'm sorry, 45 points apiece, with one win each and one second place finish each. So it's looking very close up at the top. It was a pretty exciting race as well. There was some interesting stuff that happened with Chris de Jong. I think he might have picked up a penalty on that last one. In fact, do we know if he got a penalty, Chris?
I'm just checking now. I heard somewhere that he was starting quite far back.
Yeah, he, of course, Chris de Jong started from the back of the grid in the last race after a penalty in Australia. Saw him start from the back of the grid, but he worked his way through all the way up towards the front and then had contact with somebody. I forget who it was now, but that kind of ruined his chances. I think he still finished pretty high up, though, in the end. Chris de Jong finished in 8th.
Was it 4th? Oh, 8th, sorry. Oh.
That might have been the penalty, though, possibly.
Oh, well, he has a 10th place grid penalty for today, so...
Oh, he does? Okay.
He started at least 11th.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So he'll definitely be outside the top 10 for sure. Whether or not he makes it to Q2, we will see. But Chris de Jong has been quite strong so far this season, so I fully expect that we will be seeing him in Q2. As we've got some times being posted now. Adam Maguire setting the provisional pole time, although it's Q1, so nothing's provisional pole just yet, but a very quick time, 1.2 seconds up on Lucas Schmidt. David Cook now coming in with a 122.5, still though 9/10 off of Adam Maguire, so Adam Maguire seemingly finding time that others have not. Mikhail Antohovsky, though, does one better, almost 2.5 tenths quicker, 121.4. And it looks like, I mean, and this is kind of what we saw in Bahrain, is Antohovsky and Adam Maguire. Of course, Chris de Jong did not take part in qualifying, and in fact joined us in the commentary booth for qualifying last week. But yeah, right now it's looking like those two guys up at the top. Chris de Jong yet to set a time, though, so far, so we'll see what he's got.
I think he's out on circuit.
He is, yes he is.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's on a flying lap. I do believe he's on a flying lap. He's gone out on a couple of out laps, actually, so I don't know if maybe he's running into some sort of traffic, possibly. I'm going to go on board with him now.
Yeah, he looks like he's behind some sinister cars.
Yep, it sure does. And let me go ahead and pull up a track map of Circuit de Catalunya so I know what these corners are. He's making his way.
I just had my Chrome crash, so I'm having to reboot.
Oh, and Chris de Jong is not happy about that traffic whatsoever. He is not happy about that traffic at all, and he's gonna reset back to the garage.
He's just come out in front of on Sanchez. He's reset back to the garage now, but yeah, he had a bit of a contact with one of the F1 Champ cars as he was coming out of the pits.
Yep, I do not think Chris is happy whatsoever with that one. Let's see, though, if he can finally set a lap. He's going to slow down at turn 1 and let somebody through. And let's see what kind of space he's going to give for himself. He does have a car behind and a car ahead. This is a relatively smaller circuit compared to some of the Tilke circuits that we're going to be seeing this year. So I can imagine finding space, especially in Q1 here, when you've got 22 drivers trying to set banker lap times or just fast lap times in general to move themselves into Q2. It cannot be easy, and this is a circuit where dirty air can absolutely kill you, as Chris de Jong himself, I'm sure, would tell us all about it. And he's making his way through that turn 7 and 8 complex up the hill in this out lap. And I'm imagining that he wants to give himself as much room as he can from the car ahead, but without holding up the car behind, because again, he does have a car behind, so he's going to have to be careful that he doesn't become guilty of those same sins that he was critical of earlier.
Oh, he's moving out the way now, so he's let that car through.
Yep.
He wants to get at least a few seconds on the car in front of him, so he get a good exit out of the final 2 corners to start his lap.
Yep. Very long start-finish straight, of course, and a very long run down towards Turn 1. Spain, of course, infamous for its Turn 1 because you arrive at such high speed, even on the opening lap, that it can cause all sorts of problems. Hopefully, knock on wood, we don't see any of that type of stuff today, but I'm sure everybody is going to be wary of that. Let's talk briefly about the Teams Championship. At the moment, Avid Chronic Racing currently leading the way in the Constructors Championship with 51 points after scoring 31 points in Bahrain. They were second behind the Origin front row green team, who was leading the way with Antohovsky's win in Australia, but with Antohovsky finishing in second and no other driver for the team scoring any points in Bahrain, that's moved them down into second with 45 points, 6 points adrift of Avid Chronic Racing, and we've got Origin Front Row Racing Red in third position with 35 points, just 10 points behind the green team, and then Sinister Race Team in fourth, just a further 5 points adrift on 30 as it stands right now.
Exactly, I think Sinister's doing a very good job being in fourth position, especially with being Felipe Giro being in joint third position with DeWald Nell. I think that's quite a good performance from the first 2 races.
Yep. And DeWald Nell actually currently the third fastest by quite some margin. He's about 3.5 tenths up on David Cook at the moment, but he's also about 4 tenths off of Adam Maguire. So DeWald Nell kind of in a lonely position as far as qualifying standings are concerned. Still have yet to see times from Chris de Jong, Adam Osger, oh gosh, I forgot, Theodoros, and Dave Paling. Theodoros, I got it. I knew I was going to forget. I knew I was going to forget during the broadcast. It was bound to happen. But yeah, so those drivers yet to set a time. Oh, and actually, Theodoros has set a time. It's only good enough for 17th position, though, right now. Lucas Schmidt in the pound seat in P10 right now. The American Jordi Lopez, who impressed in Bahrain, actually, did a fantastic job, did Jordi. I was very excited for him, of course, being an American. But Jordi finished, he finished fifth. So a great first race from him, and that was his first ever race with FSR. So great job by Jordi Lopez. He's currently, though, only in 11th, so he's gonna have to find a couple of tenths if he wants to get himself out of Q1.
Yeah, he's gonna have to break into the 22 barrier. I think that's quite easy to do, really. I think he's got the pace. He looked quite strong in Bahrain, of course, and hopefully he can get into Q2. I think, yeah, this should be a good battle towards the end of the session, I reckon.
Yep, yeah, looking forward to this one. We've got just under 11 minutes remaining here in Q1. And Zahovsky still leading the way with that 121.4. He has not improved on that time. Adam Maguire still with the 121.6. He has not improved as well. And actually, I'm sorry, excuse me, we have a message saying that Adam Asgur is not allowed on track, so I think he might have a backup grid, possibly. I can only imagine that would be the reason. And Chris de Jong still has not set a time. And he's done 7 outlaps.
I think he just can't find the space in the traffic, really, or he's just getting quite annoyed.
Well, there he goes. He does set a time of 122.2. That's going to be good enough for 4th position. That pushes Lucas Schmidt out of the top 10. Jordi Lopez now down into 12th. So those two guys are going to have to find some time. Lucas Schmidt only needs to find 6 1,000ths of a second if he wants to move it up into 10th ahead of Felipe Giro. But of course, you can't, with Jordi Lopez right behind as well. He probably needs to try and do a little bit better than that. But look, I mean, just look how close it is between Zaharov down to Schmidt. I mean, those guys are separated by less than a tenth. Lucas Schmidt, in fact, actually improving, does a 122.6, now up into 8th position, alongside his teammate, actually, Van Lagerenberg, in 7th for the gray team as well. So those two guys looking like they have very similar pacing. It's all Origin front row though at the front. Mikhail Antohovsky, Adam McGuire, and DeWald Nell, all three of those guys. So it's looking pretty strong for them up at the front. Chris de Jong kind of splitting the OFR and ACR teams in that NetRex in 4th position with that 122.2.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was a pretty decent lap from Chris. I reckon there's a few more attempts in there though, but it's only Q1. I think he's pretty safe now. But yeah, as you were saying, the gap from probably about 6th down to about 12th is very, very close indeed.
Yep. Yeah, and that's exactly where the Q2 cutoff is, of course, in P10. For those of you that might be new to FSR or racing in general. So Pedro Gomez actually now is in the pound seat in 10th position as it stands right now with that 122.837. Chris de Jong does not improve. Oh no, he is starting a new lap now. That was an out lap, so he is starting a flying lap now. Antohovsky and McGuire both in the pits. I can't say I blame them. I think they're safe with their 121s.
Yeah, safe.
yeah, the only drivers to get into the 121 so far. Although DeWald Nell is getting very, very close to getting in there, but I think he's probably going to be safe as well. I mean, the drivers outside the top 10, they'd have to find 8 tenths to a second or more in order to get past DeWald Nell. So I think he's pretty safe as well.
Felipe Giro has just improved to a 22.5, so moves up to 6th.
Yeah, that's a very good time for Felipe Giro, who was right on that P10 area, right around there. So he's going to be a little bit safer. And was that David Cook improving? No, that was Pedro Gomez improving with a 122.1. Yeah, very good lap from Pedro Gomez, making it an OFR top 4. OFR now occupying the top 4 slots here in qualifying. Chris de Jong being pushed down into 5th after Pedro's good lap there.
Yeah, one thing I just want to point out is Mikkel's last sector is 3 tenths faster than Adam McGuire's.
Yeah, 27.9 for Antohovsky in sector 3. That's a very quick. Yeah, 28.2 for Adam McGuire. Yeah, you are right about that. What? Yeah, we're seeing 28s as well in sector 3 from DeWald Nell. 28s as well from Pedro Gomez. So Mikhail Antohovsky, I don't know if that's if he just feels comfortable with that sector 3. It's very much a sort of Mickey Mouse section. It's difficult to grasp for some drivers, especially in a performance car like a Formula 1 car. If you're taking a road car through there, I'm sure it seems quite easy, but navigating that chicane in a Formula 1 car is quite difficult. So I can imagine this 2016 FSR car. It's not the easiest thing ever.
Especially with boost too. I mean, these cars have so much torque when they're in lower gears. It's unbelievable. Obviously, Cal can get it into the corner okay, because you really do have to take that first apex of the chicane pretty tight, so you can open up the exit for the last corner. So yeah, she seems pretty strong in the last sector, that has to be said.
Yeah, very strong for sure. And Pedro Gomez becoming the second driver to break into the 121s. Adam McGuire has left the server. I'm certain he's on his way back. I would imagine he's probably just restarting or something. So. Yeah, I would hope so. But yeah, Pedro Gomez
we want to race.
Yeah, exactly. And Pedro Gomez, though, getting into the 121s ever so slightly, 7/1000ths of a second, just getting inside the 121s there. But it's good to see that he is also finding time. Pretty much all of the cars are out on track right now. Adam McGuire, who left the server, not out on track. David O'Reilly for ACR, not out on track at the moment. And Adam Osger as well, not on track at the moment, but he's been instructed to stay off the circuit. But pretty much everybody else is out on track right now, looking to get into Q2. We've got less than 5 minutes remaining now. And Dmitry Zaharov now is the driver that's in P10 with a 122.790, 7/1000ths faster than Felix van Delft. Oh man, I feel like in this Q1 session here we're mentioning thousandths more than anything else, really.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so close, unbelievable, really. I think we're gonna have a very good race, I reckon, because everyone's really close. This seems to be a very good track that everyone seems to know pretty well. It's nothing new or anything, so hopefully it should be pretty good.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody, of course, very familiar with the Circuit de Catalunya. The real life F1 drivers are, of course, very familiar with it after doing all of their testing at that circuit and no other circuit. But I imagine the FSR drivers feel very comfortable at this track as well. Everybody knows Catalunya and the corners to Catalunya. It's a fantastic track, but I know some people would like to see the old Sector 3. I know that was
exactly.
very popular. I've never actually driven it with the old Sector 3 layout, but I have to imagine it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's better than a little slow chicane, really. Yeah, not much to be said. I reckon if anyone could change anything on this track, it would definitely be that last chicane. One thing to note though is especially turn one. If you get a good turn one, it kind of sets you up for the whole lap. If you don't get a very good turn one, it seems to like ripple through the whole lap. So if you lose a tenth in sector one, you know, for turn one, you're not going to gain it back at all.
Well, Chris is of course a driver, and I am not. So, what gear would you be using into turn one? Third gear?
Yeah, I would say third gear in qualifying trim. You could probably get away with fourth in the race, hopefully, just so you get a better exit out of the corner. But yeah, definitely third.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. DeWaldnell does not improve. Pedro Gomez has not improved either. Daniel Benefield, actually, my co-commentator from Bahrain, my unfortunate co-commentator because it meant that he was out of the race, but Daniel Benefield up into fourth position ahead of Christian. Well, what is technically fifth as Adam Maguire left earlier, so the standings aren't 100% accurate right now. So actually, Dmitry Zakharov in 10th position is technically in 11th position right now. I do hope that Adam Maguire has not had some sort of technical issue that is going to prevent him from doing any sort of racing or anything like that.
I hope not. He does only have like 2 minutes to get back in, so fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed he can get whatever is causing him not to be in this Q1 session to hopefully come back in and give us a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eugene van Lagerenberg, I suppose, is actually kind of in that do or die seat as it stands right now. I'm going to go on board with Eugene. He is on an outlap, I believe, right now. Yeah, it looks like he reset back to the pits, and Adam Maguire has returned, thankfully.
Good.
There we go. Yep. So Van Lagerenberg gets pushed down to 10th. Zakharov now down into 11th. He's got to find a couple of tenths.
David Cook's looking pretty good on this lap at the minute. He's gone green in the first two sectors.
Whoa! You weren't kidding. And he shoots up with a 121.6, 9 1,000ths. There it is again. We're talking 1,000ths of a second here. 9 1,000ths faster than Adam Maguire, but both those guys certainly are going to be safe as just over a minute remaining in Q1.
Yeah, exactly. Lucas Smith's on a very good first sector at the minute, at 22.799. Hopefully we can see him move up a little bit.
Yeah, that is a personal best for Lucas. He's making his way to the end of Sector 2 right now. Let's see what he can do for Sector 2. It's a 31.0, which is not a personal best for him, but it's only about a tenth off of his personal best. So he is on for a good lap, like he said. He was 2 tenths up in the first sector and only 1 tenth down in the second sector, so he's about a tenth up as it stands right now. He is in 8th position, but any sort of improvement that he can make to his lap time is just going to ensure that he can move on into Q2. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the Q1 session now. Where does Lucas Schmidt cross the line? It is not an improvement. It was 122.4. Ended up losing a couple of tenths in the final sector. Yeah, he could only manage a 28.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if your race view is exactly the same as mine, but it looks like Chris Dion actually did a lap on prime tyre.
Did he? Yeah, well, he is on the prime tire at the moment. I know he's not saving tires, so that's interesting.
It's a real Formula One. Wow, look at Mikel's second sector. 30.3.
Holy cow, that is almost 3 tenths up, over like 2.5 tenths, a quarter second up on his previous personal best. Mikhail Antohovsky continues this way. We might see, oh my gosh, a 121.195, and I mean, he didn't need to set that lap. He's playing mind games at this point, if you ask me. That's an incredible lap, nearly half a second up on David Cook in second position as we're coming to the end now of Q1. David Benefield still out on circuit. Theodoros is going to cross the line, but unfortunately can only manage P18. Again, David Benefield out on circuit right now, but he is actually safe, so he doesn't even need to finish this lap. But I'll go on board with him, have a little look-see.
Yeah, exactly.
See how Daniel's doing here as he's making his way through sector 3.
He's not gone green. He's not gone green at all. But...
Oh, okay. Well, with the back-to-back races, for those that may have missed the Bahrain race, it was just last week. It's been almost exactly 7 days to the hour since these guys did the Bahrain Grand Prix. So these guys have had a much less time to practice compared to Bahrain and Australia, certainly. So that it's going to make things interesting, no doubt about it. Let's go ahead, go through the top 10 for Q2 as we're getting ready to go to Q2 now, in fact. Mikhail Antohovsky leading the way, followed by David Cook, Adam Maguire, Pedro Gomez, Dewald Nell, Daniel Benefield, Chris de Jong, Lucas Schmidt, Felipe Giro, and Eugene van Lagerenberg just squeaking through in P10 there. So these guys are going to, I imagine, as with Q1, probably going to go out and try and just put in a banker lap, just a safety lap, and then they're going to go out there and push like hell.
Exactly. This is, if it's a time to do a good lap, it's right now.
Yep, no doubt about it. And it seems Adam has actually had a little bit of an issue at the pit exit there, so he's gone back into his pit box.
He's coming back out now.
Who is out in front? Is it Chris de Jong that was first out? I think it was, yeah. I think Chris de Jong was so sick of dealing with traffic, he has decided to be the first one out, and he is out on the prime tires, actually. Chris de Jong out on the prime tires. He's out there on the orange hard compounds, so I think he might be going for a slightly different strategy.
Well, I think it's because he's got that complete grip penalty, hasn't he? So if he's starting wherever he finishes plus 10, so yeah, hopefully that should be interesting to see at least, because he did it in Bahrain, I recall, with him starting on the white medium tyres. So far everyone's out on track except for Dewald now, who's now actually leaving the garage. As Chris de Jong comes round the final 2 corners to start his lap on the prime tyre. He'll be using, of course, boost 2 to get full, I think it's full 80 extra horsepower out of these V6 hybrid engines.
80 horsepower, holy cow.
Yeah,
and torque as well. It's just pure torque as well because of it being electric, so...
I mean, going from the AMA car to these FSR cars is just, you can't compare them, honestly. It's the amount of power you get, you just can't drive it like you could the AMA car.
Yeah, and I imagine a big portion of that is the torque delivery. I mean, just especially at low RPMs with the ERS and what. Oh, a big slide moment there for Chris de Jong.
Wow, how did he save that?
Oh, and he's going to give up on this lap. That was very unfortunate. Just had a big slide, or not a slide, but a big oversteer moment count at the exit of turn number 5 there. And he's going to reset back into the pits. He should have plenty of time, right? Yeah, 2 minutes, 40 seconds still remaining in Q2. Plenty. So he's got plenty of time. And he's got a lot less traffic to deal with here in Q2, of course, as well. Oh, yeah, he's going to reset again.
David Cook's on a good lap.
Let's take a look at David Cook. What's he up to? Making his way through turn number 12 in Sector 3 right now, and he's going to be finishing his lap, as is Antohovsky as well, right behind him. Yes,
wow,
Antohovsky.
That middle sector.
What do you got here? Oh, wow, 30.5. Yeah, compared to 30.8 for David Cook, so 0.3 up right there. David Cook with a 122.007. Lucas Schmidt just a 1/10.5 behind with a 122.167. Very close between those guys. Felipe Giro putting in a 122.8. I'm sure he can improve on that one. That was, I think, the banker lap that I alluded to earlier.
And Mikhail goes faster.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, 121.5 for Antohovsky. That's not quite as bad as the 121.2 that we saw in the last session, but it's still more than good enough for pole position as it stands right now. Just a minute and a half remaining.
Where's Adam Maguire?
Where is Adam Maguire? Adam Maguire has left the server,
and that's not good.
That is not good. That's not good at all. I don't know that he set a time or not. I don't remember if he set a time, and
I don't think he
unfortunately,
did.
yeah, I don't think he did either.
I think he's disconnected.
Yeah, so he might be starting from P10 then, if that is the case, and if he is having technical issues, we'll see how long he makes it into the race.
Well, as it stands, it looks like Mikel's got pole by 3/10 to Pedro Gomez, unless anyone improves.
Yep, and they're going to have to improve pretty significantly.
It's the middle sector. He's unbelievable in that middle sector.
Oh, and Adam is having problems with his wheel, is what I'm being told right now. So that is pretty much among the worst problems that you can have. I mean, it's better than losing electricity, I guess. Losing power to your computer would be the ultimate worst thing that could happen. But
exactly.
Adam McGuire, who again we think has not set a time, we're pretty sure. So it looks like he's going to be starting from P10, but that's going to be great from a spectator's perspective. I mean, we had a fantastic time watching Christy Young go through the field in Bahrain. It was great. It really made for an exciting race, and it would not be necessarily a bad thing for us. It would be a bad thing for Adam, but it wouldn't be such a bad thing for us to see him making his way through the top 10 to try and get back into those podium positions that we know he's capable of, as he's only one of 3 drivers to get into the 121. So we know he's got the pace. So it should make for an exciting race here. Coming to the end of Q2 now. Antohovsky currently on pole position with 121.5, and he's improving as well, no surprise. We know he's got at least 3/10 in his pocket, so he could be improving even quicker, or we already know he's improving quicker. Pedro Gomez not out, though. DeWald Nell not out either, so those guys will not have an opportunity to improve. David Cook right now is out on circuit, but he is not improving. He's actually 10th down in Sector 1 and 7/100ths down in Sector 2 as well.
Mikel's on a flyer.
David Cook coming through the final corner now. Unless he put in the most mega Sector 3 of his life, I don't think he's going to improve. He does not improve with that lap. Antohovsky now through the final corner.
This is going to be quick.
Our current pole sitter, can he get into the 120s? No, not quite. 121.246, just half a tenth off of his best time in Q1, which tells us, though, that Mikhail Antohovsky has speed and consistency as well.
Oh, for sure. Exactly. I mean, he's got so much confidence in that Origin car. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I was watching him on board doing his lap, and his Sector 2, he was so committed to turning that car in and getting on the power. Wow. I'm lost for words, really.
Yep. And yeah, so again, Antohovsky currently in tied for first in the championship standings at the moment. Again, he is currently tied with David Cook at 45 points apiece. Speaking of ties, we've got a number of them actually. DeWald Nell and Felipe Giro are also tied in the championship at 26 points apiece. Daniel Benefield and Adam McGuire are tied in the championship at 17 points apiece. And then also Jordi Lopez and Lucas Schmidt are currently tied at 13 points apiece. So no joke, the top 8 are all tied with someone. Every single driver in the top 8 is tied with another driver in the championship. Of course, only 2 races in so far. And we're going to be doing the warm-up session again for those of you guys that are maybe new. And Adam Osger asking Mikhail if he comes in peace, because clearly he is an alien. So Adam just wants to make sure that he isn't coming to destroy the White House or whatever happens on Independence Day. So yeah, the guys are going to go out. They'll have 10 minutes to acclimate themselves with the high fuel car. And it was an all-Origin, not just front row, actually, the top 3 all-Origin front row drivers. So Origin front row racing doing a great job in qualifying here in Spain today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, wow. I'm lost for words, really. It's just they're so consistent. Unbelievable.
And then 4th, 5th, and 6th were all ACR cars. So we've got 3 Origin cars and then 3 ACR cars. So the top 6 is entirely OFR and ACR, and then Felipe Giro and for the Sinister Race team, Christy Young for NetRex. So here we go with the warm-up session, and actually I've got a bit of a tape delay. There we go. And I'm going to go on board with Antohovsky because he is clearly the man to watch here in today's race. If he took pole last week in Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yep.
But
So I mean, he didn't convert last week, but I mean, I think it's harder to pass here than it is in Bahrain. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I've heard many ACR people complaining about how hard it is to overtake around here. Apparently, it's even impossible. Even with DRS and boost 2 and a very long straight, it's still pretty impossible.
So Antohovsky is making his way now into turn 4, and let's see what kind of times he's doing on the high fuel. But yeah, as you were saying, it's difficult to pass here, certainly compared to Bahrain. So I imagine we're going to be seeing more 2 stops here than we will 3 stops, but certainly anything is possible. Chris de Jong, interestingly enough, though, will be starting on the prime tires, which could actually be good, though, for when you think about how hard it is to overtake at this circuit. If he can manage to keep the cars behind him at the start, I think he'll be in a very good position, actually.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. I think he should be pretty set for the race if he gets through any mayhem. But these guys are pretty decent. I don't think there'll be many incidents.
Yep, certainly hope not anyway. And we're starting to get some high fuel times. Looks like high 24s, 25s, low 26s is going to be the high fuel lap times for the day today. Antohovsky getting close to 320 kilometers per hour into turn number 1. And again, that is with high fuel. I don't believe he had DRS open. Certainly he would have been using Boost 2, though. It's also lower fuel consumption, I believe, for this circuit, if I'm not mistaken. Slightly less. I think it was around 2.4, 2.3 liters per lap in Bahrain.
Yeah,
here it's closer to 2, something like that.
Yeah, I think when I was doing some testing, I think it was about 1.9 average, but with Boost, I think probably in the 2 range.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, even below 2, so...
Yeah, exactly. With a full Boost 2 laps, about 3.5. But I doubt they'll be doing that with the strain on the engines.
Right, yeah, certainly. And it's 142 liters for a fuel. Sorry, here we go. So George is gonna put up the standings. I'm not sure if he's already put up the standings. So yeah, for as I was mentioning before, though, Antohovsky and Cook currently tied in the championship with 45 points apiece. Then DeWald Nell and Felipe Giro are tied. Daniel Benefield, Adam Maguire are tied. Jordi Lopez and Lucas Schmidt are tied. Dave Paling in 9th position with 12 points. Pedro Gomez and Eugene Van Lagerenberg tied at the moment as well. Chris de Jong and Dmitry Zaharov, Juan Sanchez Lopez as well. I assume that's Jordi. I believe that's Jordi's full name. Yeah, that would make sense. David O'Reilly currently in 15th position. Theodoros.
There we go.
These Greek names, man. They don't make it easy.
Well, at least you're better than names than me.
Tyler Nyerges as well, actually tied with David O'Reilly and Theodoros. Ben Horrell in 18th position. Vicentovic in 19th, tied with Pedro Moira. Adam Osger, Shargil, Pascal Chapon, and then bringing up the rear and yet to score points so far this season, Felix Van Delft, Javier Moyano, and Andrew Pienaar.
Yeah, I'm surprised Felix doesn't have any points.
And then let's take a quick look at the team standings. As I briefly mentioned earlier, the Avid Chronic Racing Team, ACR, currently leading the way with 51 points in the Constructors' Championship. Origin Front Row Green currently in 2nd with 45 points, very close at the top between the two of those guys. Bit of a gap then down to OFR Red Team, down in with 35 points in 3rd position. Sinister Race Team in 4th with 30 points. Not much between those two. Origin Front Road Racing Blue in 5th position. They are currently set on 29 points, just 1 point adrift of Sinister Racing. Avid Chronic Racing Blue and ACR Gray are actually tied, interestingly enough, at 22 points, those two ACR teams. ACR Engineering currently in 8th position with 14 points. Deltec Racing Team in 9th with 9 points. Team Horizon in 10th. They're tied with Netrex Grand Prix at 8 points apiece. F1 Champs Racing currently in 12th with 7 points. Zero Sim Racing in 13th. Belgrade Racing in 14th. And Hanseatic Racing Team in 15th with 2 points. So all of the teams have scored points so far this season after just 2 races as well, which I think shows how competitive the field really is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's going to be. I think once everyone gets used to these cars a bit more than what they are, because these cars are very new for this year. They're the V6s, not the V8s. They've got a lot more torque.
How many years did we run the old V8?
I think it was 14 and 15 on rFactor 2.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, they had 2 seasons with that. This is of course only the 3rd race with this car, and as you were touching on earlier yourself, you were mentioning just how much more difficult it is, especially out of the low-speed corners with the amount of torque that these cars have. It's quite a challenge for the drivers, and it's interesting how it's shaken things up. Drivers that were extremely quick in the V8 might be suffering a little bit more, and drivers who were suffering in the V8 might be excelling a bit more, actually. So it's mixed things up quite a bit, and not just in Pro here as well, but in Ace as well, and even in WC.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing many drivers show their full potential with these cars. It's all down to driver preference, really. Some drivers like quite a loose car, as you would call it in America with NASCAR, and some drivers like a tight car that's very good under braking, that you can really slam the brake pedal with. So yeah, some of these cars' brakes, I would say, aren't as efficient as like the AMA car, but they do get you stopped, which is always the main thing.
Yeah. So coming towards the end now of this warm-up session, the race is going to begin very shortly, and in fact, I'm going to go ahead and tweet about it real quick.
Always spread the love.
Yep. We got it, and this week, thankfully, we don't have to compete with the real F1. We should.
That's always good.
Yep, everybody, get in here.
Looks like Adam Maguire's race pace might be on par with Mikel's if anything is to go by his current warm-up pace. Only 1/10 off.
Yeah, that is impressive. Yeah, both of them into the mid-24s. Lucas Schmidt into the high 24s.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he didn't qualify in 3rd, but he's looking very strong. I mean, he may have set up his car for race pace instead of qualifying. I'm not sure if that's the best choice, because again, it's very difficult to overtake. But we will see. I mean, he's looking very strong, so hopefully that'll be just another case of getting to watch another driver making his way through the field. 50 laps for today's race, and the drivers are starting to come into the pits now as we prepare to go to the race.
Should be a very good race. I think this is one where you should grab your popcorn, sit back, put your feet up and watch a good race. I think this could even be better than the Formula 1 race of the weekend.
Yep. Really looking forward to that one. Exactly. Here we go. Chris DeYoung saying, "May the Force be with you." He's wishing good luck to all of the Jedis that are. Although Mikhail Antohovsky is probably the main Jedi he needs to be worried about. As we mentioned, exactly. Chris DeYoung starting further down the field. I believe he's going to be starting from 9th position. We'll be finding out shortly here as the drivers make their way to the grid to begin the out lap and exploration lap. Get back to the grid, and then we will go racing. Looks like everyone is ready.
That's all
except for
good.
Chris DeYoung.
It's going to be interesting to see what he can do.
Yeah. Chris DeYoung. So Chris is going to be starting on the prime tires. So he will have a little bit different of a strategy. He'll be a little bit slower in the opening laps, and then improving slowly as those medium compounds begin to wear down. I would say, based on my rookie estimates or my naive estimates, I expect we'll probably be seeing cars coming into the pits as early as lap 10, something like that.
Might even be earlier, depending on what the
Even
strategy
earlier.
is.
Gotcha. So yeah, pretty early on in the race. But for Chris de Jong, he should be able to go a little bit further, maybe to lap 15 and even beyond, possibly, depending on what sort of strategy he's got going. So there it is. I'm actually gonna go through the. Oh well, Eugene Van Lagerenberg is in P10. I thought he set a time in Q2.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may have his lap may have been deleted, possibly. He may have extended or corner cut or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought he did set a lap. Maybe not.
Yeah, it might not have been a clean lap. That's the only thing I can think of that would cause him to start behind Adam Maguire, who did not set a time at all. Chris de Jong, though, did set a time, but it was on the prime tires, so he's going to be starting from 8th, actually, instead of 9th. Okay, no, actually, the drivers are talking about it. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like that is incorrect. So I think we were right in our assessment there, Chris. I think
Yeah.
when we said Eugene should be above Chris de Jong and Adam Maguire, I think we were right about that, because yeah, I believe Chris de Jong is supposed to be in 9th and Adam Maguire is supposed to be in 10th. So everybody bear with us for just a moment while we fix the starting positions for the race. Got another tape delay. There we go. Thankfully, nothing happening just yet. But again, it is all Origin front row in the top 3. Mikhail Antohovsky leading the way. Then we got the 3 ACR cars. David Cook driving for the ACR team. Lucas Schmidt driving for ACR Gray. And then Daniel Benefield driving for ACR Blue. So actually, even though the 4th, 5th, and 6th place cars are all ACR, they're not technically teammates. They're all sister teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not all on the exact same team. So there might be no love lost between the 3 of them. Could see some pretty intense racing from them.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone in rFR and ACR practice together, but I think once it's all on the table, lights go out. I think they don't really care.
Yep.
They're racing, for their respective teams and for their respective, selves. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. So I don't think we're going to be seeing any team orders. Certainly not in the first stint, anyway. We won't be seeing anything like that.
Multi-21.
Yeah, no, I doubt that. At least not until maybe some pit stops have been made. But then, even then, I do not expect that, to be honest. So still waiting for the starting positions to get resolved, but it shouldn't take too much longer. Appreciate everybody's patience. Of course, with the Circuit de Catalunya, 16 corners, 2 DRS zones. The DRS zone on the start-finish straight, and also one after turn 9 before turn 10. The heaviest braking zone as well on the circuit is turn 10. I expect we'll be seeing some action at turn 10. I don't know how many people will be able to complete the overtake, but I fully expect that we'll at least be seeing some overtake attempts at turn 10.
Oh, for sure. Obviously, I saw a post on the forum that David O'Reilly put up saying that please be careful into turn 1 and turn 5.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is to ruin someone's race on the first lap. And he said that it's one, later on than it is on lap 1. It can only be lost.
Exactly. Yeah, you can only lose the race on lap 1. Certainly, you do want to battle. You don't want to. You first, sir. You first. You don't want to be too polite, but at the same time, you don't want to be banging into anybody or anything like that. Turn 1 is going to be very difficult. Oh, and it sounds like we're actually going to go ahead and run an advertisement while we're waiting and getting things sorted out. So we'll be right back with you guys in just a moment. All right, and we're back. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. It looks like we're about getting ready to go to the race here. The race director, Pasalis, is moving to the race now. There we go. And Van Lagerenberg's still in 10th. Okay. We'll ignore that for right now. Uh-oh.
I don't know what's going on here.
I'm not sure either. Of course, the hardcore FSR fans will know that yesterday we had some issues with, I believe it was an rFactor 2 issue, actually. It wasn't a problem with FSR or FSR servers. It was just a problem with rFactor 2, and that's delayed the AMA race and also the FSR Ace race. So both of those being postponed to a date yet to be determined. So that will be... Uh-oh. And...
Is Christy Young
man.
starting 8th, or is he... what's going on?
Pasalis is saying that it can't be overridden and that Christy Young might actually have to start from the pit lane. Uh-oh. Oh my.
This isn't going to plan at the minute this weekend.
It certainly is not.
At least it's going better than real Formula 1.
I think Felix Van Delft has the right idea. He's just going to relax with some tea for a bit. And
Yeah,
Adam Osger has, I think, drank a bit too much tea, as he has to use the restroom. Well, this is very interesting drama here. Christy Young being asked to start from the pit lane. I don't want to go too much in depth behind the scenes.
He's
but,
Max Verstappen. No.
Christy Young is definitely the Max Verstappen of FSR, no doubt about it. I'd say he's got the pace. He's got the pace as well. He's been right up there this season. So I mean, again, and this goes back to what I was talking about in qualifying. The idea of Christy Young starting from the pit lane is very appealing for a spectator, not so much for the driver himself. I can imagine starting from the pit lane is not desirable. I am, of course, a racer, not like these guys. I am not, but yeah, I certainly would not be thrilled about starting from the pit lane. Although I've had quite a bit of success in the past with racing and starting towards the back. You know, you get a great opportunity to avoid the carnage, but Christy Young is not the type to avoid carnage. He wants to get right in there and get his hands dirty, and not in the aggressive way, of course, but certainly he wants to be involved in the fight, and nobody can blame him at all.
Oh, of course not. He's a true racer.
Exactly. Everybody at FSR knows Christy Young. Oh, uh-oh. Got some cars making contact at the pit exit. Yeah.
Oh, and the ACR car's just spun.
I think these guys are just kind of going out there, turning some corners while they get the opportunity. I mean, everything's being worked out now. So they are just going to go out on circuit and just kind of go around for a little bit. No one can blame them. Might as well use the extra time to familiarize yourself with the car a little bit more, especially on the high fuel. I can imagine it's quite difficult after coming off of a low fuel run in qualifying 2, especially for those that made it into the top 10. It can be very difficult readjusting to the high fuel car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it isn't too bad because you'll be running boost 1 most of the time. And the car feels, it depends on your setup really. If the car feels quite stable, then you don't really feel it much different. You just feel slower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
driving through molasses a little bit
about how it all feels.
Yep, yep. Again, 50 laps for this race here in Spain today. And again, we are just dealing with some technical issues at the moment. We appreciate your patience to the viewers. Thank you so much.
Okay, looks like Christy Young's actually keeping his position now. But
okay,
he'll get an extra penalty on top of his Bahrain time.
Yep, and Chris is understandably not satisfied with that whatsoever. But it does appear that this is an RF2 issue, an rFactor 2 issue with the sim itself. It's not a problem with FSR or the FSR servers. We'd like to really just
He is
drive.
not happy.
Nope, nope. Chris is not happy whatsoever. It's probably good that he's not in the commentary booth right now. Otherwise, we'd probably need our sensor beeps handy. So again, it's a problem that or I don't know if this is the same problem that was experienced yesterday, just manifesting itself in a different form, or if this is just a totally different problem. But again, rFactor 2 in general having problems this weekend. I saw a fantastic tweet actually from my, I guess, coworker, Mitchie Hoyer, who used that classic image with the server room, and it's got a million different yellow Ethernet cords, and every single one of them is yellow.
Exactly.
And it just says an Ethernet cord is unplugged. Good luck finding it.
Exactly.
I think that
I work in IT, so whenever
yeah.
I go into a server room and you see like Ethernet cables everywhere, you're like, which one's which? Especially with telephones and patch panels and everything, it's just, dear. Makes me love my job, but I do love it. I love IT, so.
Yeah, I do tech support, not IT. Very different. I don't have to deal with anything physical. I don't have to deal with any sort of hardware. It's all software on my end, so it's a bit
count
easier.
yourself lucky.
Yep, exactly. But the drivers are on the grid now, or actually they're off the grid now. And they're going to make their way around. And we are going to get ready to go racing here. Again, Chris de Jong not happy. He is going to be starting from 8th position. However, he is going to have an increased penalty time after he did not want to start from the pit lane, and who can blame him? He is sort of the taking the brunt of these problems on his shoulders. So, you can imagine that he feels it's a bit unfair.
Well, especially considering he qualified on the prime tyre, just because he knew he had the penalty.
Yep.
And now they can't apply it, so there's a bit of frustration. I'm sure he'll stay cool for the race.
Yep,
there we go. He's just put in the chat saying he qualified with hards because of the 10 place grid penalty.
Yep, exactly. So Chris de Jong, understandably, again, everybody quite upset, but he is going to go racing, and he is going to do his best to try and maximize his position. Chris de Jong, currently in the championship standings, is tied for 12th alongside Dmitry Zaharov. He only scored points in Bahrain. He picked up 8 points in Bahrain. Did not score in Australia after being disqualified from Australia because of an issue with his game. He wasn't able to get the anti-cheat running, I believe, was the issue in Australia.
Yeah, CPU issue.
Yep. So getting to the grid now. Let's see where Adam is. So Adam's at the back of the grid. He had a back of grid. I don't remember what that was for, but oh, he's got a lovely Turkish flag livery. Actually, does Adam?
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
That is very nice, actually. I really like the orange and red with the black.
Kudos to whoever designed it.
Yeah, that is very, very nice. Not too flashy, not just flashy enough. I really like that quite a bit. He's making his way now through the final corner, and he's going to find his grid spot, and then we are going to get ready to go racing here at the Circuit de Catalunya for the 3rd round of FSR 2016 Pro. Here we go. The drivers get into their grid spots.
Here we go.
Mikhail Antohovsky on pole position. He's got Pedro Gomez right behind him in 2nd. The lights are coming on now. We've got some smoke in the background from one of the cars. I'm not sure who that is, and the lights are out, and away they go. Mikhail Antohovsky holding on to that lead as it stands right now. It's been a good start for him, not so much for Pedro Gomez. He's already dropped down into 3rd position, now 4th position, losing positions to both David Cook and DeWald Nell. DeWald Nell going around the outside of David Cook at turn 1. We've got some carnage at the background there.
Someone's spinning.
Oh, lots of carnage.
That's sinister car.
Yeah. Oh, and another contact. Adam Osgar making contact with, I believe, one of the ACR cars as well in the background there. Lots of carnage. More contact heading into turn number 4. We've got 2 cars off into the gravel at the entrance of turn number 4. This is lots and lots of issues. Turn 1, turn 2.
Adam McGuire got caught up in that.
Adam Maguire is out of the race, retired already. Didn't even make it through the first sector. Mikhail Antohovsky breaking away from the field with over a 1 second gap already. And Adam Maguire and Daniel Benefield again out of this race. Very unfortunate for Daniel Benefield, who also had an issue in Bahrain, and he is out of this race. Pedro Mora at the back, he's had some sort of issue. He's going very slowly. He's lost his entire front wing. Theodoros as well has lost his entire front wing and is moving very slowly. Jordi Lopez has dropped down a number of positions, currently running behind Adam Osger in the back there. But at the front, it's looking fantastic for Mikhail Antohovsky. 2.3 seconds is the gap to David Cook already.
Wow.
That is absolutely incredible. David Cook has moved up to second, though. Pedro Gomez now making a move on Felipe Giro at turn number 1. He's going to get the move done as well, without the use of DRS as well. So Pedro Gomez
very nice.
Started from second position, dropped down to fourth, now back up into third position, and will begin hunting down David Cook. But holy cow, what an opening lap.
Very hectic. I think, very unlucky for Adam Maguire. He's looking very strong. It's just not going his way, is it?
No, it is not going Adam Maguire's way. I don't know if that was another issue with his wheel that caused all of that, or if he just got caught up into it. I confess I did not go back and look. Theodoros and Pedro Moira coming out of the pits. They're gonna, they both pitted for, well, they really pitted for a new front wing, but they're gonna get some new tires while they're at it as well.
Be interesting to see if they can catch up to any of the midfield. Really, they're going to be quite far back.
And Chris de Jong up to 5th position, actually. So after all the struggles that Chris de Jong has had, yeah, it's going quite well into the top 5 and on the prime tires as he clunks his way over the penultimate corner to curb him there. He's got Eugene van Lagerenberg right behind him. So Eugene actually has had a good start. DeWald Nell not so much, though, down to 7th position. And let's see, here they go, side by side. Chris de Jong on the inside. He's defending the inside of turn 1. A little bit of contact there. Eugene van Lagerenberg getting pushed off a little bit. He went off the circuit. He's lost the position to DeWald Nell as well. So he went on the attack with Chris de Jong into turn 1, and DeWald Nell taking advantage of that situation. Or no, I'm sorry, that was Felipe Giro. Or no, that was DeWald Nell getting past Eugene van Lagerenberg. Apologies, I got confused there for a second. Dimitri Zaharov now as well running very close behind Eugene van Lagerenberg, and Lucas Schmidt as well right behind him. So it's very, very close in the bottom half of the top 10. All of these guys battling for position. Juan Sanchez as well is involved in that, just 0.7 a second adrift of Lucas Schmidt as it stands right now. Up at the front, though, Mikhail Antohovsky continues to break away, increasing his lead now to just about 3 seconds over David Cook, as we are on lap number 3 now.
Yeah, I think he's just going to keep that gap consistent now. I think there's no need to push fast laps after fast laps. I think it's just a case of maintaining the gap, keeping the tyres well, and you never know. We hope we don't have a similar problem to what he had in Bar.
Yeah,
where he couldn't pit or something, wasn't it? Where he wanted to go to his pit box and
he essentially had a drive-through. Yeah, exactly. It was basically like a drive-through penalty, which Adam Maguire had a drive-through as well. So it kind of put them on equal standings in Bahrain, which was very interesting. But David Cook currently running in 2nd position. He's got a 3-second gap to the car ahead and a 3.3-second gap to the car behind. So he's looking pretty safe. Pedro Gomez has Felipe Giro outside of the DRS range. Chris de Jong just barely hanging in there into the DRS range, which is quite impressive considering Chris de Jong is on those hard prime tires. We're only on the 4th lap of this race, though, so I would say the primes really have not come alive yet in comparison to the mediums. It's probably going to be a handful of laps or more or so before we really see those primes come in. We're not really sure of Chris de Jong's true pace, though, because in qualifying he was pretty much running primes for the majority of it, actually. So it'll be interesting to see just how fast Chris de Jong is once he gets onto those options.
Yeah, exactly. He's just catching up with Felipe by the looks of it. He's very close to him now. I think give it a couple more laps, and I reckon the primes will be right up there.
Yeah, and I don't even think Chris de Jong's going to need those couple of laps. He is very close, making his way through the turn 14, 15 chicane.
And Dmitry Zarasov come together.
Oh,
so if I pronounce his name wrong.
Oh, yeah, Lucas Schmidt making a diving move into the turn 10 hairpin. They're side by side through turn 11. He's on the outside. They're banging wheels all the way around the outside of turn number 12. And then they make contact again. Yes, Lucas Schmidt makes a diving maneuver at turn 13 and unfortunately makes contact. That is very, very unfortunate for both of those guys. And we've got another car off. Is that DeWald Nell? DeWald Nell is off as well. He's having to reverse even. DeWald Nell having an issue. I'm going to go ahead and go on a replay of that. He was making his way into turn 1. Went a little bit deep, missed his apex, and then just spun the wheels on the curbing at turn 2. He went right around and managed to not collect any cars. So thankfully, DeWald Nell not taking anybody with him, but he's now down into 17th position.
Yeah, he's quite far back now. Wow. I mean, what a few opening laps we've had. We've had everything. We've had, bad starts. We've had people pulling away from each other, and then we've had collisions after collisions. It's just action-packed.
Yeah, I feel bad for George. He's got to try and show all of this on the stream. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's a lot easier to talk about it than it is to try and get replays of all of this stuff and everything. So, apologies, guys, if we missed anything. But there's just so much going on on the circuit at the moment. Having a look at Chris de Jong right now, making his way through the final corner. Oh, a big slide through the final corner behind Felipe Giro in that dirty air, and that is going to kill any sort of opportunity he had of making that overtake into turn number 1. Here at the start of lap number 6. I believe he did still get the DRS because the DRS detection zone is certainly before that. So that will help him close up that gap a little bit. But big slide moment through that final corner for Chris de Jong. It's going to lose him lots of time. Not quite enough time to allow Eugene van Lagerenberg to get back into DRS range or anything like that. Let's see, where are the battles happening on track right now? It looks like people are starting to spread out a little bit more.
Looks like there's a collision at the back.
Yeah, with Adam Osger. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a replay of that, see if I can find out what happened. Adam moving up the inside at turn number 1. They give each other space. Oh, and then they just kind of get caught on each other. Very, very clunky through there. That was definitely a mistake. I'm not sure if anybody's to blame for that one. I think that may have just been a racing incident, but yeah, that is very unfortunate for both of those drivers. And I think actually did Adam let Felix back through? I think he may have, because Felix is ahead of Adam right now on track.
Yeah, it looks like I reckon Adam did let me through.
Yeah, so I think Adam Osger in P15 taking the high road on that one, letting Felix back through. Whether or not that was his fault doesn't really matter at this point, as he's let him through.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like DeWald's left. He's DNF, by looks like.
Oh, yeah, DeWald, no surprise there. He may have picked up some damage that was just causing the car too many issues, and he recognized that he was probably no longer a top 10 runner with that damage. I imagine that's the case. I don't think he would have just left for no reason, certainly. But we've got 18 cars still remaining in this race of the 22 that started here on lap number 7. Chris de Jong trying to make his way back towards Felipe Giro. The top 3 separated by some pretty healthy gaps, almost 3.5 seconds between Antohovsky and Cook, and also between Cook and Gomez as well. An even bigger gap between Gomez and Giro. So the top 3 really breaking away. Chris de Jong, though, is hanging in there and also has those prime tires on right now. So Chris de Jong is
pace.
Yeah, looking very strong, it has to be said. He's looking very strong. 1.6 seconds adrift of Felipe Giro up ahead. Eugene van Lagerenberg as well, just outside of the DRS range of Chris de Jong. Lucas Schmidt closing in on Eugene van Lagerenberg. He just needs to find a 10th in Sector 3 here if he wants to pick up the DRS off of van Lagerenberg. Big gap between 7th and 8th as it stands right now, about 4 seconds separating those guys. David O'Reilly is within DRS range of Juan Sanchez, though we'll get to that in just a little bit. Let's see, did Lucas Schmidt get DRS? No, he did not get DRS. The wing is not open right now. I'm going to switch back over to David O'Reilly. Did he get DRS? No, he did not get DRS. Was very close, though. In fact, they were less than a second. They were 0.991 seconds apart as they crossed the line, but David O'Reilly must have just missed out in the DRS detection zone there. Dmitry Zaharov running not too far behind David O'Reilly.
He's got good pace. He's got good pace on those primes. I mean, 26.2 last lap, that's not too bad.
Good shout. Yeah, he is on the prime tires, and that is not a bad lap whatsoever. So Dmitry Zaharov could be in a good position here. He's got Jordi Lopez behind, but quite a gap to him as it stands right now. I believe Chris de Jong is slowly making inroads on Felipe Giro, but not massively. I think we're on lap number 8 now, though. The mediums are going to start going off pretty soon here. So, and also we might be starting to see the first scheduled pit stops. We've already seen plenty of unscheduled pit stops, but we should start seeing some scheduled pit stops here as well. Theodoros as well in danger of being lapped by Antohovsky, who's just making his way into turn number 1 now. Theodoros just up the road, making his way through turn 3 right now, I believe. And Van Lagerenberg also not really making inroads on Chris de Jong. So Felipe Giro, Chris de Jong, Eugene Van Lagerenberg, they're still kind of all just outside of each other's DRS zones. As well, Lucas Schmidt, he's about 1.5 seconds adrift of Eugene. So again, just outside the DRS range. David O'Reilly has gotten within the DRS range, though, of Juan Sanchez. I think this might be the battle to watch, in fact, with especially with Dmitry Zaharov behind the two of them on the prime tires as well, and putting in some good lap times from him. So I think this might be the group.
Lap times, honestly, I think 26.2 is pretty good on those prime tires, especially with the full fuel load.
Yeah, 26.5 last lap from David O'Reilly, so Dmitry Zaharov lapping about 3/10 a lap quicker than the ACR car ahead of him. So we could see some battling start to happen here for what is 8th position in the race.
Yeah, one thing I want to note is that still Mikhail is still doing fantastic sector 2 times, even with race fuel. I mean, he's flapping about 4/10 faster than David Cook in second place.
Yeah, 25.1 from Mikhail Antohovsky last lap. He was in the 24s. Oh my gosh, the incredible consistency from Mikhail Antohovsky. Lap 6, 24.9. Lap 7, 24.9. Lap 8, 24.9. Lap 9, 25.1, just 0.2 off. So incredible consistency here from Antohovsky. He is picking up a bit of traffic here in turn number 4. Again, that is Theodoros, and he gets out of the way a bit awkwardly, but he does get out of the way nicely for Antohovsky. And he becomes the first lapped car of the race so far. David Cook now is going to have to make his way past Theodoros as well.
Yeah, these primes are coming in now. Chris de Jong is flying.
Definitely. Yeah, Chris de Jong last lap at 25.3. Yep, they are just getting faster and faster for Chris de Jong. Last lap was 0.3 quicker than the lap prior. And that lap was 0.5 tenth quicker than the lap before that one, and that one was 0.7 quicker than the lap before that one. So these primes are just getting faster and faster and faster. Chris de Jong getting faster and faster and faster as well. Let's see. Oh, and Dmitry Zaharov has managed to get by David O'Reilly, actually. I missed that.
Yeah, so did I. I was watching Chris de Jong.
Go ahead, keep watching Chris de Jong. I'm going to go back and see what happened with Dmitry Zaharov. I think he may have just had a DRS overtake into turn number 1.
Looks like Chris de Jong's on the back of Felipe Giro. Definitely has DRS, that's for sure.
Yeah, for Zaharov, very easy DRS overtake. Yeah, Zaharov just managed to DRS by David O'Reilly into turn 1. I mean, he had the move done into the braking zone even. So Zaharov looking like he has fantastic straight line speed as well. David O'Reilly is going to pick up the DRS behind him, but what can he do? The answer is not very much. He barely closed in on him whatsoever. So in addition to being on those prime tires, Zaharov seems to have very good straight line speed as well, which is going to make him very, very difficult to get by. I mean, he's going to be able to defend his positions quite well with that kind of straight line speed. And he is off. Yeah. Holy cow. 340. 340 kilometers per hour. So yeah, 341 essentially Zaharov is doing with the assistance of DRS and also boost 2, you have to imagine as well. We can't see when the drivers are boost 2, but with that kind of top speed, you have to imagine. Going over definitely 200 miles an hour. Yeah, he's got to be using boost 2. David O'Reilly, I think, is actually going to pick up the DRS here again. Yes, he does. So he's got the DRS. He's hanging on to the back of Dmitry Zaharov. Zaharov is now following Juan Sanchez. Sanchez with the 26.2 last lap. Zaharov with a 26.6, interestingly enough, actually. So Juan Sanchez looking like he's taking care of those tires. And you may remember better than me, Chris. I believe it was Felipe Giro that one stopped in Australia and also in Bahrain.
Not quite sure, actually.
I'm pretty sure it was Felipe Giro. I'm not 100% certain, but I believe it was Felipe. He's got Chris de Jong behind him now, though, and Chris de Jong is in the DRS range now.
He's losing a lot of time, though.
Yep. He's gonna be looking to get by Felipe as quickly as possible. 25.7 last lap from Felipe, 25.9 from Chris de Jong, but he did 25.2 the lap before that when he wasn't in the dirty air. So Chris de Jong is definitely quite a bit faster than Felipe at the moment. So we'll see if he can do anything about that. Going through the very high speed uphill turn 9, he will get DRS, but I doubt he'll be making any sort of moves. You got to be pretty darn close to the car ahead. Oh, he gets so close under braking, though. Incredibly close from Chris de Jong. He's very close now as we begin Sector 3 with Chris de Jong. He's going to try and overtake Felipe Giro for this 4th place position.
He has to get it done now.
Yep, he needs to get it done.
He's ruining those tires and his strategy.
Exactly. He needs to get it done ASAP. Here we go through the penultimate corner now into the final corner. Oh, we got some smoke up ahead as well. I'm not sure who that was from. But Chris de Jong with the DRS wing open now. He's going to be picking up the slipstream and using some boost too. But just look at the gap that Felipe Giro has.
He's too far back.
Way too far back. Not even close. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe we're only on lap 12. Lap 12, 13. I can't believe it. It's just been so action-packed.
Yep, we're about a quarter of the way through the race now. It feels like it's been about 5 minutes we've been watching this, though.
Exactly.
Lucas Schmidt into the pits, and in fact coming out of the pits onto a set of the prime tires. Oh, and he's going to be fed back into the race with a little bit of traffic. He's got Pascal Chapon and Felix Van Delft just ahead of him, and they are currently battling. We've already talked about it earlier in the broadcast, how difficult it is to overtake here at the Circuit de Catalunya. However, it's even more difficult when the car ahead of you has DRS.
Exactly. Just one thing to point out, it looks like Jordi Lopez is flying on the set of prime tires at the minute, 23.7 in the first sector.
Wow, very quick time. Yeah, that is a personal best for him so far in this race. Yes, it is. He's been doing low 24s in Sector 1 so far. But here on lap number 13, he's down into the 23.7s. He does a 32.4 in the middle sector, which is almost his personal best, but not quite. But yeah, you're right about that. Jordi Lopez, the American, going quite quickly. And Pedro Gomez comes into the pits, are the final podium position sitter as things stand right now. So Pedro Gomez coming in on at the end of lap 13, excuse me. And at the start of lap 14, he's going to fit a set of the prime tires. So based on him coming in on lap 13 and putting on the primes, you'd have to say he's probably going to be on the 2-stop, right? Oh, it's going to be very close into turn number 1 for Pedro Gomez, and he makes contact with Zaharov there, and Zaharov is going to lose out to Pedro Gomez, but not to Juan Sanchez, thankfully. They were 3 abreast into turn number 1. I'm actually going to watch a replay of that. That was incredible. So Zaharov was actually in the process of making the move. He was making the overtake. He shoots up the middle of both cars, gets a little bit of a tap, though, from Pedro Gomez that causes him to lose the position to Pedro, but he was able to hold on to that position ahead of Juan Sanchez. So he does gain a position as a result of it, but he nearly gained 2 positions. Very, very close, and I think everybody is very lucky that didn't go any worse, going 3 wide into turn 1.
It's just action-packed. I think if anyone is thinking about not watching the live stream, I think they should watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now is the time to reconsider, because
we're leaders are in the pits now.
Yeah, Antonovsky into the pits. David Cook into the pits as well. And Chris de Jong is going to take 2nd place as a result of those guys pitting. Felipe Giro now takes the lead of this race. He has not stopped yet, has Felipe Giro. But again, Felipe Giro was the one-stopper in Bahrain and Australia. And nobody has corrected me on that yet, so I'm going to assume that's right. So Felipe Giro...
I believe you, Justin.
Yeah. Let's just go with it. Felipe. Oh, and lots of cars coming into the pits now. David O'Reilly, Juan Sanchez, Dave Paling, Felix Van Delft. All of these guys in the midfield now making their way into the pits. David O'Reilly, interestingly enough, coming out on another set of the option medium compound tires. So he's going for a little bit of a different strategy. He did make it 14 laps into the race, though. So if he can do another 14 or 15 laps, that'll put him to lap 28 or 29. And then he only needs to do 21 or 22 laps on a set of the prime. So it looks like David O'Reilly might be going for a slightly different strategy compared to the other drivers. Certainly, and maybe you can confirm this for me, Chris, but the option tires, certainly with the green circuit, with only 14 laps completed so far, it's possible David just feels a little bit more comfortable on those options with not much rubber down on the circuit just yet.
Well, I just think he just wants to I think he feels that he's confident enough on the primes to run it later on, but I'm surprised that not all of the drivers have thought about going onto the prime tyre. So
yeah.
You can, I'm just a bit shocked by that, really. I thought everyone would be going on the prime tyre, but everyone's flying at the minute. It's just a shade of, green and purple everywhere.
Yep. And Chris de Jong, it should be mentioned, I mean, we were really focusing on that battle earlier, but Chris de Jong is still stuck behind Felipe Giro, which is not what Chris needs whatsoever. Let's see what Felipe did last lap. Felipe, baby, did a 26.5 last lap, and Chris de Jong did a 26.5 last lap. So, I mean, he well and truly is stuck behind him. And now he's got Mikhail Antohovsky right behind him, which...
this isn't going to plan for him, is it?
No, but it's not really going to plan for Antohovsky either. I think he's going to have a hard time getting by Chris de Jong while Chris is getting the DR... Oh, my gosh. Here, look at the run that he got out of turn 9, though. He's going side by side into turn number 10. He's going to try and go around the outside. There's a little bit of wheel banging between the two of them. Chris de Jong squeezes him. No, Chris de Jong is not giving up that position whatsoever, and he's going to have to step on it if he wants to get the DRS here. I think he is within range. Yes, I believe so. He should get the DRS, no problem here. But Antohovsky absolutely flying, just gaining loads of time under braking for that turn 10 hairpin, which is, of course, the largest braking zone of the circuit. And just look how close behind him he is as we go through the final corner.
Oh, yeah, surely.
100%. He is tucked up right behind him. He moves to the right-hand side. He's going to get the inside line heading into turn number 1. It looks like he's got the straight line speed. He's going to move across in front of him and take that racing line and move up ahead of Chris de Jong, essentially a pit stop ahead of Chris, who started on the prime tires and is yet to pit.
Yeah, he's not moving over for anyone. I'm just going to be interested to see if Mikhail can get past Felipe without Chris coming too far, with DRS and everything.
Yep. So lap 17 now, and Felipe Giro is still out with 33 laps remaining. You have to wonder if he is in fact on another one-stop race, which seems to be his specialty. Antohovsky very close as we go up the hill, and now this is the kind of distance that you need coming up the hill if you want to make the overtake in turn 10. But again, I think actually he's going to be a little bit too far back. Let's see what he can do under braking, though. He does get very, very close, but he can't quite get alongside. Ooh, and he takes a much tighter line through that turn 10 hairpin. Takes a little bit wider line then through turn number 12, and then cuts it back to the inside for a late apex. Oh gosh, you can see, he had to think about making the overtake there in the turn 13. Thinks better of it, decides to just go for the DRS. And Chris de Jong kind of waiting in the wings as well. I think he's way too far back to do anything about Felipe Giro. I was thinking to myself earlier, maybe he can use Antohovsky to get by Giro, but that just does not look like it's going to happen, and it's going to be a very straightforward move for Mikhail Antohovsky, one of our championship leaders. Again, he is tied in the championship with 45 points with David Cook, currently running in 4th position. So if they were to finish as it stands right now, Mikhail Antohovsky would be the sole championship leader if he can pick up 25 points here today in Spain.
Yeah, I think a very good race of sort of mentality there from Mikhail. I think, he knew that he would have the DRS.
And we've had an issue from Jordi Lopez, actually.
Oh, okay.
I think we may have commentator cursed him a little bit. He was running strong on those prime tires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's had a spin in sector 3 between turns 12 and 13. He was running in the dirty air of a car that was ahead of him, and he just lost the back end coming out of turn 12. He made contact with the barrier, and then he had to sit stationary for quite a bit of time while some of his teammates and sister teammates made their way by. So Jordi Lopez has lost a significant amount of time as a result of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's rookie. I'm gonna have to be filling in. I'm filling in quite big shoes. Stepping up from AMA. So, you expect people like Jordi and myself to make mistakes. It's all part of the learning curve. You don't expect no one to be perfect straight out the bat.
And Giro pits finally. Felipe Giro now coming into the pits at the end of lap 18. Yes, at the end of lap 18. Yep. So he's got 32 laps to go. He's fitted on a set of the prime tires. And I am fairly certain that Felipe is going to try him one stop again here, which isn't a bad idea. If you can make it work, then I think it's a good strategy actually, because it's so difficult to pass. He had so much clean air for pretty much that entire first stint. He was running in clean air. Sure, he was doing a bit of defending from Chris de Jong, but I think Felipe Giro could be a dark horse. He comes out of the pits into 7th position. Jordi Lopez into the pits now. And
I wonder if he's got damage.
I don't think he has significant damage. He did make contact with the barrier, though, in that spin. However, it was a very light tap. I don't think he lost any body work. He is turning the wheel in a strange way, though, and he's brought the car to a stop. And I think that might be, and that is going to do it for Jordi Lopez. Very, very unfortunate. Really. Yeah, that is a shame. Jordi Lopez, who looks so strong, scoring 13 points in Bahrain, 7th in the championship after just one race. And in his 2nd race ever, he is going to retire. Very unfortunate for Jordi Lopez, but I'm sure he'll be looking forward to the next race. The next race, I'll just mention that briefly, is going to be round number 4 from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. That's going to be on April 23rd and 24th.
David Cook's just got Chris de Jong.
He sure did. I just so happened I was on board with Chris de Jong as I was talking about the next race, and then I just see this ACR car come by on the right-hand side. Yeah, speaking of Canada, great segue on that. David Cook takes 2nd position off of Chris de Jong, who has yet to pit. Chris de Jong, essentially a pit stop out of position on those prime tires, and understeering a little bit at the entrance of turn number 4 there. And you can see he's already lost pretty significant time to David Cook, who is on much fresher option tires, it should be mentioned.
Yeah, it's not going his way at all.
Yeah,
it's a bit unlucky, really, I think. Oh, he's running a little bit wide there.
Oh, and who is that in the back there?
That looks like Dave
Paling. Yep, it sure is. Dave Paling off the side of the circuit and in the grass. He's still moving very slightly. Yellow flag's out. The yellow flags are gone now as he rejoins the circuit. What's going on with Dave Paling? Yeah.
Yeah, the wheel's pointing in very unnormal ways, unusual ways, you could say.
Yep, and I think we may have another casualty of the circuit Catalunya. 6 drivers out of this race so far. I'll go ahead and go through them quickly. Jordi Lopez out of this race. No, I'm sorry, 7 actually now. Dave Paling making 7. Dave Paling, Jordi Lopez, Andrew Pienaar, Dewald Nell, Pedro Moira, Daniel Benefield, and Adam Maguire all out of this race. Just 15 drivers remaining. And Mikhail Antohovsky, wow. Just leading the way with a 7-second gap. I can tell you right now, if I were race engineering for Mikhail Antohovsky, I'd go ahead and tell him to slow down. Slow it down, buddy. He just pulled out another 4/10 on David Cook in Sector 1. And there's only 3 corners in Sector 1. Wow. So Mikhail Antohovsky is looking very, very strong. I mean, he was looking strong in Bahrain, though, actually. It should be mentioned. Mikhail Antohovsky, he was very unlucky. And it should be mentioned, Chris de Jong, who's been unlucky in this race, has really been pretty unlucky this season, in fact. He got disqualified from Australia, even though he won the race. He was looking like he was going to maybe get a podium position in Bahrain until he had some contact with another car. It does look like Chris de Jong's going to make his way through some traffic here, though.
Mikhail's flying.
Yeah,
8 tenths faster in Sector 2.
Oh my God!
If I was his engineer, I'd just put the headset down, switch off the computer, and just let him do it. He's obviously in a league of his own. A 23.7. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Antohovsky is putting in times that, I mean, I don't think I could put in a 123 in quali trim. And Mikhail Antohovsky is, and we're not even halfway into this race. We're only on lap 22. And Antohovsky already down into the 23s. Clearly, he is feeling pretty darn good here in Spain.
Oh, Dimitri's just pitted.
Yep, and there goes... from the primes.
Yep,
and he goes on to options. Yeah, interesting.
David Cook set a really good first sector. Purple, 4/10 faster than Mikel.
Oh wow, that is quite the first sector. Did he pick up? Did he get it? Did he get DRS there? Oh, I think he might. I think he may have gotten DRS off Adam Osger. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that must be it. Because yeah, with that kind of sector 1 time, you have to suspect DRS certainly. But yeah, I mean he is 9/10 off of Mikhail Antohovsky. I mean Mikhail could, just about pit and still be in the top 4. Yeah, I think he could. Yeah, no, you do lose quite a bit of time in the pits. I'm not sure exactly how much time you lose in the pits.
I think it's like 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's a pretty long one. So
it's very slow as well.
Yeah, so he would drop down to 4th, but I mean with a 9-second lead over David Cook. Let's see, as David Cook crosses the line. Oh, actually, David Cook pretty much matching him in sector 3 there, but I mean he's going to have to start being several tenths a lap quicker. Chris de Jong pits now finally. For his first pit stop for Netrex. And he's coming in on the prime tires here on lap number 23.
Oh, it goes on the options.
Or what was the end of lap 22. And yeah, he goes on to the options with 28 laps remaining. So yeah, I think Chris de Jong can fit a set of the options at his second and final stop as well. He's going to drop down into 7th position behind Lucas Schmidt, whereas Lucas now making his way through turn 3. Chris de Jong now just making his way through turn 3 as well. So he's just a few seconds adrift of the ACR Gray driver of Lucas Schmidt. Felipe Giro running in 5th on what we suspect is another one-stop strategy.
Yeah, it seems to be that the field's all spread out now. There doesn't seem to be many battles going on, but
yeah, Giro and Van Lagerenberg are pretty close, but not that close. Schmidt as well, 2 seconds off.
Yeah, you got O'Reilly and Dimitri.
Oh yeah, so actually after the pit stops, Dimitri has dropped back down below David O'Reilly. I believe he was ahead of him when they went into the pits. Yes, I believe so.
That could be why O'Reilly went on the medium tire.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, I think you're right about that. So let's see, what sort of lap times is Zaharov doing? Oh, well, we have yet to see. Actually, we're going to find out now. Actually, what kind of lap times.
It looks like he's matching O'Reilly at the minute.
Now O'Reilly did pit earlier. Yes, he did. Yeah, O'Reilly picked quite a bit earlier because, of course, he was on the options and Zaharov was on the primes at the time. But O'Reilly still has to go on the primes, whereas really Zaharov does not.
Exactly. O'Reilly having a really, really bad last sector. 6/10 off Dimitri.
Oh. Yeah, and what is that gap now, actually? Yeah, it's about 2 seconds between them. So I think that might be the battle to watch, although Chris de Jong not far off of Lucas Schmidt. Gosh, holy cow. Yeah, I was looking at the timing, and then all of a sudden I changed the camera over to
really close.
Oh, yeah. Chris de Jong closing right up on the back of Lucas Schmidt. Lucas Schmidt, it should be mentioned, was, I think, also on for a podium in Bahrain. He was running very, very well and ended up with a DNF. I don't remember who he made contact with, but I distinctly remember it was not his fault. But wow, I mean, Chris de Jong is going to be looming large in the rearview mirrors of Lucas Schmidt as he makes his way through the final corner now. Chris de Jong tucked up behind him. Yeah, on those option tires with the DRS, with the boost tube, with the slipstream. I imagine it's going to be quite an easy move. Side by side into turn 1. Is he going to be able to? Nope, he's going to have to go side by side. Oh my gosh! The late braking from Chris de Jong, holy cow, just shoots up the inside on Lucas Schmidt, moves himself up into 6th position. Lucas drops down into 7th on those prime tires, but still going strong and in a strong points-paying position as well, which I'm sure Lucas will be happy about.
Oh, for sure. He'd be quite happy that he's keeping up with De Jong, considering that Lucas is on the prime tire.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. What's going on with Eugene? Okay, no, that's some traffic. I think that was Vicentovic, if I'm not mistaken. It was indeed Vicentovic getting out of the way very nicely for him. And is that Giro going a little bit wide? Yeah, I think I saw Giro go a little bit wide at turn 9 there.
It's a hard corner, especially in race trim.
Yes. In
fact, because you think you go faster than what you can.
Right, you and I were talking about it before the race. Even you were saying in the AMA car, it's quite a bit easier in comparison to this FSR car. And unfortunately, I think Vicentovic is not doing any favors for Giro. I do think Giro is going to get the DRS, though, because of Vicentovic. Yes, he does. So he's got the DRS to defend from Chris de Jong. But I think it's only a matter of time. Felipe Giro did pit before Chris de Jong, I believe, actually.
Yeah. Because I think it was, what was it, lap 18, 19 that Giro pitted and Chris de Jong pitted 5 laps ago.
Exactly, so, lap 18 for Giro.
They're pretty much on the same sort of tyre wear, so the pace should be roughly about a second per tyre.
Yeah.
So Chris de Jong shouldn't really have much issues passing him this time, but it just depends on if he can get the DRS toe.
You can just see how confident he is under braking, and that's something we saw in Bahrain. Chris de Jong made a couple of. Oh gosh!
Wow, what happened there?
I have no idea.
Wow, he's not going to be very happy with that.
What happened there?
What? I'm lost for words.
Hold on, I'm watching the replay here. I think that may have been lag related. I think it was lag related. Oh my gosh! And that is absolute devastation for Chris de Jong, completely out of his control.
Did he get on the sausage curb at the end of that corner? Did that launch him up at all? Or was it just complete lag? Because I was on board with him, switched, and when I was about to switch, I saw him up in the air.
I think that was complete lag. Wow. I mean, he just got blown up, just completely obliterated. He got flipped over the fence.
Wow. I think we saw something like that last year in Melbourne, didn't we? Between Kuiko and Brzezinski.
Yeah. I mean,
he went miles.
I'm on the replay, and I'm just kind of rewinding it back and forth, and you could just see Giro. He kind of teleports inside Chris de Jong's car. And you can imagine being two atoms can't occupy the same space and all that. So, yeah, oh man, and he just gets lifted up and over. That is absolutely devastating for Chris de Jong in a race that was already so unlucky for him. I mean, Chris de Jong just cannot catch a break. I mean, he should be up there in the championship. He should probably be top 3, top 4. And here he is after 3 races. He's only scored 8 points. Through mostly no fault of his own. That is just absolutely, I really feel for Chris de Jong at this moment. I imagine he is absolutely gutted. And I imagine Felipe Giro is wondering what just happened and where did Chris de Jong go? Because, I mean, no fault of his either.
You were talking about the Jedis and the Force before the race, and you definitely had it then.
Yep. Or the dark side. I think the dark side was somehow involved in that. Wow, unbelievable. That is just truly, truly disappointing for Chris de Jong and also for Felipe Giro. I imagine. Let me go on board with Felipe.
I don't think he's got any damage.
Okay. Well, that's good at least, because again, no fault of Felipe Giro for those that are watching. I would encourage you not to really blame either of those drivers, because I believe that was a technical issue. Yeah, I mean, sort of the real life racing equivalent of somebody's tire just exploding and taking out someone else's car. I mean, just really nothing that either of them could do about that, and that's unfortunate too, because that's really robbed us of some fantastic racing that we could have seen between those two guys. I mean, Chris de Jong was not having an easy time of getting by Felipe Giro all race long. In fact, he's been struggling to get by Giro. Antohovsky into the pits now. I imagine that's going to be onto the prime tires. It is indeed.
Yeah, that'll be his last stop.
Yep. So he is going to stay till the end. Antohovsky comes out on the prime tires, and he's going to come out in second position. No, in third position. Pedro Gomez just ahead of him. And that's got to be a little disappointing for him. I'm sure he would have preferred to come out ahead of Pedro Gomez. But, of course, Gomez still has a stop to make. He made his stop on lap 13 for a set of the prime tires. So he has 37 laps, so 18... So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be stopping relatively soon, probably in the next handful of laps or so, is Pedro Gomez. So, Antohovsky shouldn't be stuck behind him too long, but I imagine I mean, with the kind of pace we're seeing from Antohovsky, I imagine he's going to look to overtake him on circuit.
Oh, he might as well just go in reverse. He's just in a league of his own.
Sorry. I was taking a drink there. You almost made me spit it out on my monitor there.
Sorry.
I mean, look how close he is under braking for the hairpin. Yep, and there he goes. Well, that was easy.
Was that a bit of team orders, maybe?
I don't know. I'm gonna have a...
It looked like he gave... Pedro gave it up quite easily.
I'm gonna have a cheeky replay here.
A cheeky replay,
with Pedro Gomez. Yes, yeah, I think that was team orders. I think that was team orders, absolutely. Yeah, he really just lifted off. That wasn't understeer.
David Cook's in the pits now.
Oh, and David Cook pits from the lead, or what was the lead.
Yeah.
It was very brief. It was a short-lived lead, but David Cook comes out in third. Is he going to come out in third? Let's find out. Yep, Van Lagerenberg's into the pits. Lucas Schmidt is going to continue on for another lap. Felipe Giro, no surprise, as he's made his final stop, is going to continue on for another lap. Which, I mean, it just shows how kind Felipe is on these tires. I mean,
oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just surprised.
What lap was it that he pit? He pit on lap 18. So he's already been on these tires for 12 laps, and the drivers around him are just now going onto a set of the primes. And yeah, Felipe Giro doing a fantastic job, as he did previously. Yeah, to put in that kind of pace and even do some defending as well from somebody as talented as Chris de Jong, you have to give Felipe some serious credit. He's doing quite well in the championship. He is tied for third in the championship. Is Felipe Giro? He's tied with Dewald Nell right now. And actually, Dewald Nell is already out of this race, so it does look like he is going to move ahead of Dewald Nell if things finish as they are. I mean, he just needs to finish in the top 10 to move ahead of Dewald Nell. And behind Felipe Giro is Daniel Benefield and Adam Maguire, both of whom are also out of this race. So Felipe Giro in a good position already in the championship standings, looking to improve, though. The drivers ahead of him, Lucas Schmidt, David Cook, Pedro Gomez, and Mikhail Antohovsky. Antohovsky and Cook are, of course, already ahead of him in the championship, so he doesn't have to worry about losing positions to those guys. Stop me if you see any battling happening
That's
or anything.
Fine. I don't think there is a team.
But the other guys, Lucas Schmidt, for example, is... well, actually, he is in 7th, so he is a bit more of a threat to Felipe Giro, but he's 13 points adrift of him. So and in 4, he's only 1 position ahead. So he's certainly not going to make up that gap with those current standings. Pedro Gomez, who's currently running in 2nd position, actually.
He's keeping up.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. And Pedro is currently in 10th in the championship. So this would do wonders for his championship if he can finish on this podium position. When did Pedro pit last? I have a quick peek. Yeah, so he is due to pit pretty soon here, relatively soon. He pit on lap 13. So he is on 18 lap old primes. In fact, we may see him...
go options.
Good shout. He might, actually. He does continue on for another lap. Yeah, he continues on for another lap. And starts lap number 32. Yeah, he could be going on to another set of the options towards the end of this race.
It's possible. Giro did it. 18 laps on the option tires.
Although I'm not so sure if that's the best choice. Let's see. Has Schmidt pit again? No. Schmidt has only pit the one time. Lucas Schmidt needs to pit again as well, actually. I don't know if Pedro has a race engineer. If he were to pit right now, he would come out in 3rd behind David Cook, but ahead of Lucas Schmidt. However, again, Lucas Schmidt does need to pit again, and he too might be looking to go on a set of the options at the end of the race. So this could get interesting potentially towards the end of this race if we start seeing people go into those options.
Yeah, exactly. It looks, because the options are definitely a lot faster, but the problem with the options is if you start pushing them, they do heat up, they do get very, very hot, and they do wear quite fast. So it's just a case of hopefully, you know, saving the tyres and then pushing when it's all possible. It's just saving the tyre through turn 3 seems to help a lot. 'Cause on a quali lap, you lose about 4% just through turn 3.
Wow. On the left-hand side, I would imagine. Of course, it's
Yeah,
a
left-hand side.
Yeah, clockwise circuit, and you know, with turn 3 and turn 4 as well. Turn 4 is a very long, high-speed corner as well. I'm on board with Felipe Giro right now. He's making his way through what I believe is turn 12. Yes, it is turn 12. That's another very, very long right-hander, and even the final corner. I mean, you're just accelerating your way all the way through that final corner. I guess depending on tire life, I don't know if you're flat out, but it certainly looked like Felipe was flat out through there.
You have a little bit of a lift. It depends if he's in boost 1 or boost 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you're in boost 2, you've got to be very careful, because if you want to turn it on as quickly as you can, and if you can't turn it on as quickly as you can, then you could easily spin. So if you turn it up to boost 2, come up the last chicane, put your throttle down, you could easily spin into the pit lane.
And that might be what we saw Chris de Jong do, actually. Remember, we saw Chris de Jong with that big slide into the final corner. He did have dirty air as well, but yeah, he may have just gotten on that boost 2 a little bit too early.
Yeah, exactly. If you get on the boost a little bit too early, it's amazing how different the car feels. It feels like when you use boost 2, you're driving a completely different car.
Sort of like the racing equivalent of NOS, I suppose.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Sort of that level. And we were talking about how punishing this circuit is on the left-hand side with all the high-speed right-hand corners. We didn't even talk about turn 9. Not quite as long of a corner when you compare it to turn 3 and turn 4, but another very punishing corner for the left-hand side of the car. So, yeah,
exactly.
It's very impressive that Felipe Giro is going to manage to one-stop this race. That is truly incredible.
I wouldn't even want to stop the AMA race if I was racing in that.
So again, for those watching the AMA race from yesterday and the FSR Ace race from yesterday, the two feature races on Saturday, those have been postponed because of the rFactor 2 issues that we've been having. Felipe Giro, am I mistaken, or is he catching up to Lucas Schmidt? Well, actually,
he's matching.
I mean, I believe, actually, that Felipe might be on the fresher tires. So, again, Lucas pit on lap 12.
Yeah.
Giro pit on...
lap 18.
Lap 18. So, yeah, actually, Giro on the one-stop is, in fact, on the fresher tires at this moment. I imagine he hasn't run across very many cars that are on that he's got fresher tires than in this race, so this is probably a bit strange to him, being on the attack instead of the defend as they make their way through turn 9 there. Does he get the DRS? I was on the wrong camera. Yes, he does. He does get the DRS.
This is going to be good.
Yeah, he is closing right up.
Wow, that middle sector, 4 tenths faster.
Yep, so Giro going on the attack. He's got 16 laps to go, though, on this set of tires.
Pedro in the pits.
Yep, Pedro into the pits. Let's see if he goes onto the option tires, and he does go onto the option tires, and that is exactly what Chris predicted. And just ahead of him as well was another car. Was that Theodoros? Yeah, that was Theodoros. Yeah. He's gone onto the option tires as well, but he's actually 2 laps down. Theodoros as well, having a difficult race. Shockingly enough, though, despite being 2 laps down, he's actually only 4 positions outside the points. With how crazy this race has been and the 8 retirements that we've had, he's actually not that far outside of the points as far as positions are concerned. He's got quite a bit of a gap to the car ahead, no doubt about it. But if he can hang on, and if there's any more retirements, then he could grab a point if he can hang on to everything. Vincenzovic into the pits as well.
Sorry
he's
to
also...
butt you in, Justin, but looks like Lucas Schmidt and Felipe Giro into turn 1 had a bit of a rubbing together and both spinning.
Oh, let me take a quick look at that.
Yeah, you might want to have a quick look at that.
No. Oh, yeah, I see them off the circuit. Let me rewind it a little bit further.
That's not going to help the tyre wear.
No, that's not good for Felipe. Lucas Schmidt needs to pit again. Felipe does not, or so we suspect. So that's not good for them whatsoever. Yeah, Lucas defended the inside line. Felipe tried to go around the outside. They made a bit of contact, yeah, and then Felipe got into a slide, which then put him into the side of Lucas Schmidt.
Yeah.
And then Felipe let him through. Yeah, and I
It
think
looks like
rightfully
Felipe's
so.
tires are going off.
Yeah, they sure are. So I'm wondering if maybe Felipe is rethinking that strategy of his.
There we go, Schmidt's in the pits.
Yep, and Schmidt is going to come into the pits for what it will certainly be option tires.
Definitely.
You have to reckon, yeah. Lucas Schmidt into the pits. He's going to lose the position to Eugene van Lagerenberg. Van Lagerenberg came into the pits on lap 29 for his final stop, so he's doing a 21-lap stint on the prime tires. But he's going to have a pretty healthy gap.
Wow.
Dmitry Zaharov into the pits as well.
Pedro Gomez is flying. Honestly, 23.2 first sector. Half a second faster than David Cook.
And yeah, it's a healthy gap between them. He is flying though, but any sort of mistakes from David Cook and Pedro could absolutely capitalize on that. Juan Sanchez now into the pits in the bottom half of the top 10. In fact, in P10, and he is going to come out in P10 as well, with Adam Osger quite a ways behind, actually. 2 sectors behind, in fact, is the gap between 10th and 11th. Pascal Chapon as well, just coming out of the pits now. And in fact, he's going to drop behind Vicentovic. So actually, Vicentovic moving up into P12. And let's see what's going on. So Felipe Giro, he's struggling on the tires, like heavily.
But he's still setting personal bests. I don't get this.
Wow. Okie dokie. Well, he's got Van Lagerenberg right behind. And I do mean right behind. Less than 3 seconds separating them. And with over a dozen laps still remaining in this race. So Eugene certainly, you have to think, is feeling pretty strong. Let's see. 25.1 last lap for Felipe Giro. Eugene doing a 25.3, in fact, last lap. So Felipe is looking pretty strong at the moment. Again, we'll see what happens. He has very, very worn tires. But, and Felix van Delft into the pits for his final stop.
Definitely options.
Yep, definitely options. And he does manage, he locks up a little bit, but he does manage to make it into his pit box. Puts on a set of those option tires. He's going to drop down behind Zaharov and O'Reilly. And also, he's going to drop behind Juan Sanchez as well. So Felix van Delft drops down to 10th position. Still on the lead lap, though. He is the final car on the lead lap as it stands right now. And it's a pretty small gap to Juan Sanchez up ahead. And indeed, it's not an enormous gap up to David O'Reilly either. And O'Reilly is on the prime tires. Sanchez is on the option tires. And Zaharov in P7 as well is on the option tires. But Felix will have the freshest tires out of all of those cars, so we'll see what he can do. Again, just a couple seconds off of Juan Sanchez, so we might have a battle for P9 brewing here.
Yeah, exactly. David O'Reilly's actually been very consistent so far today.
Yeah, very good lap times. 25.8, 25.9, 26.0, 25.8, 25.7 actually, so he's even improved on that last lap. 31.9 in the middle sector actually is quite a bit quicker than he did on the previous lap. He was a 10th up versus the previous lap in sector 1 as well too here. So he could be on for a mid 25 as he makes his way into the final corner now. I'm going to go ahead and stay on board with David O'Reilly here, see what kind of lap time he puts in. I think it's going to be a low to mid. Yeah, 25.5. Very good lap time for him. He lost a 10th or so in the final sector. Which is, I imagine, where as the tires start to wear down, I imagine the final sector, sector 3, is really where you're going to feel it, because there's just such little downforce in sector 3. You know, the sector 1, sector 2, you get quite a bit of downforce assisting you with that traction through those higher speed corners. But, you know, coming out of that turn 15 and 14 chicane, I imagine you really feel those worn primes.
Yeah, exactly. You mostly feel it more through the high-speed corners actually, because you can't lean on the tyre as much as you want to. And especially, as you said, especially sector 3 for the last chicane, you're always hesitant to get on that throttle, especially if you want to enable boost 2.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, for the high-speed corners, it's sort of mid corner where you're feeling that tire
Yeah,
wear. Whereas with the slow corners, it's all at corner exit where you're feeling those struggles.
Yeah, exactly.
And is that Adam Osger? Just oh no, yeah, Adam Osger is going to come into the pits actually from P11, and let's see if he's going to lose any positions as a result of that. I don't think he will, actually. I believe he is going to come out in P11, just outside of the points. Which, oh, and he's missed his pit box. He's had to reverse in the pit lane. That is always unfortunate. And interestingly, he's gone on to the primes.
Well, okay, that's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a bit strange. I mean, he can push to his heart's content if he wants to. And he is going to safely retain that P11 position. Vicentovic just now making his way through the final corner. So Adam Osger looking like he's in a safe position. Should be mentioned, though, Adam Osger started this race from P22. So the fact that he's just outside the points, I think, shows what kind of race we've had today. It's just been absolutely crazy.
Exactly.
I'm starting to feel a bit bad for our leader, though. So let's go on board for our leader for a minute, if we can, George. Mikhail Antohovsky is not a guy we've been talking a lot about today, and that's because of the 13-second gap that he has at the moment.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
it's like the Mercedes curse. You know, you're winning all these races and these championships and stuff, but man, you just don't get much camera time when you have a lead like that.
It's the same with me and AMA, me and Gerloff, De Vries and AMA. We didn't get much time, but that was because we were ahead of everyone on the track. There was loads of stuff with Chris Cobb and all that because they were all in battles, and you know, so it's always a bit annoying when you don't see yourself on the broadcast.
Maybe I should slow down a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting.
I was that far ahead of Felix Van Delft. I thought that I crashed or something because I lost. I went from 28 seconds to like 8 seconds. Where actually I pitted.
And Antohovsky's times as well. I mean, the consistency we're seeing from who is in no doubt going to be the championship leader after this race, unless some more Jedi mind trick dark side. Yeah, I'll stop there. But I mean, the consistency he's been putting in, lap 35, the 24.4, and then a 24.2, 24.3, 24.3, 24.3, 24.2. I mean, just incredible consistency we're seeing from Antohovsky. He's really just controlling this race. I mean, he's probably pushing-ish. You know, I'm sure he's not driving 100%, but he certainly doesn't seem to be letting off very much either.
No, exactly. He's at the stage now where you don't want to push. He feels comfortable in the car. He knows exactly what he can do. He knows that there's pace there in case anything happens. It's just a case of just keeping it on the track and, you know, keeping that gap consistent. And he's doing a fantastic drive. You know, world class. If I'm honest.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Based on the early races, again, this is only round 3 of the 16 race season with FSR in 2016, but Antohovsky, I have a feeling, is on his way out of pro already and into either Ace or WC at some point. He has shown fantastic pace and fantastic consistency as well, as we mentioned. Going back to the battle for P4, actually, Van Lagerenberg.
This is getting intense.
Yeah, this is getting very, very close. Van Lagerenberg is going to pick up the DRS here on the back straight, and he has closed up on Felipe Giro, who again is on a one-stop strategy. Eugene Van Lagerenberg, I forget, in the middle stint, did he do primes or options? I think he did primes.
Yeah, he did primes.
Yep, thank you. So Eugene Van Lagerenberg is on much fresher prime tires compared to Felipe Giro. Oh, he's had a big slide into turn number 14, though. That's a big slide, and I don't know if that was before or after the DRS detection line. Let's have a quick look at his rear wing. Yep, and he does not get DRS.
Oh, wow.
That he does not. Wow, that is very unfortunate for Van Lagerenberg, who was closing right up to the back of Giro and is just outside the DRS range, just 0.2 of a second separating him from being able to open that rear wing and not being able to opening that rear wing. So that is unfortunate for Van Lagerenberg. He seems to have the pace. Now he just needs to kind of put it all together and get by Felipe Giro. If he could get into 4th position, that would be a heck of a result for Van Lagerenberg.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he did not score points in Australia. Picked up 9 points in Bahrain, so to finish in 4th position, that would be huge for Van Lagerenberg.
There's going to be a very good battle shaping up for 8th, 9th, and 10th. The leader's coming up to the back of Felix, and it looks like it's shaping up really. They're only separated by less than 2 seconds.
Yeah,
so I wonder if there could be some tactics being used by one of these drivers for when the leader comes through to lap him.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So yeah, Felix van Delft in 10th, Juan Sanchez in 9th, David O'Reilly in 8th. All 3 of those guys separated by less than 3 seconds. Separated by less than 2 seconds, in fact. Very, very close racing between the 3 of them for 8th, 9th, and 10th. But as was mentioned by Chris, the leader, Mikhail Antohovsky, coming up on this group. Which means Felix van Delft has 1 less lap than he would have.
Felipe, just what I'll put out there.
Oh, yeah, he sure does. Yeah, let's do a quick replay if we can of that overtake by Eugene van Lagerenberg. Gets a great run out of the final corner and tucked into the slipstream. And he's got the DRS open, of course. A bit of a late move there. Moves to the right-hand side. He squeezes him to the inside, but it's no matter. Van Lagerenberg late on the brakes. Makes the move easy peasy into turn number 1, up into 4th position. Felipe Giro, though, again on a 1 stop, still in the top 5.
So many battles going on now.
Oh gosh.
Juan Sanchez is on the outside of David O'Reilly. Doesn't get it covered, but he's trying to go on the outside, cutting back to the inside. They're getting very close with each other. It's unbelievable.
And it looks like, I think Felix van Delft actually is looking to let our leader through. He is moving to the right-hand side, and he is going to let him through. And I have a feeling that Felix van Delft is now going to try and use Mikhail Antohovsky to try and get by these other 2 drivers, which is very smart. That's exactly what he needs to do. So here we go. Oh, he tries to go around the outside. A bit of a slide at the entrance of turn number 5 there. He couldn't quite make it work. He's tucked up into the slipstream as they head into turns 6 and 7. Can he do anything on this back straight here? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, he's very close.
He should have DRS, so I reckon he should be able to get past.
Here we go. He's got the DRS.
I don't think into turn 10 he'll be able to do it.
No, he's thinking about it. He was definitely thinking about it. He takes the apex, though, whereas Juan Sanchez was not able to take the apex. David O'Reilly has let Mikhail Antohovsky through, and now once again these 3 drivers are separated by less than 2 seconds. They might be separated by less than 1 second either. Thankfully, mercifully for David O'Reilly, I think he might pick up the DRS here from Mikhail Antohovsky. Let's go on board and look backwards at the rear wing of David O'Reilly. He does not get DRS. He's going to defend the inside line heading into turn number 1. Here comes Juan Sanchez. Can he get by? He's going to have to go around the outside at turn number 1. David O'Reilly late on the brakes, though.
A bit of a slide there.
Yeah, a bit of a slide. Oh, and a bit of contact between the 2 of them out of turn number 2 there. Juan Sanchez not able to make the move stick, and he's going to have to hold back for right now. Is David O'Reilly going to defend the inside line into turn number 4? No, he is not. And you can just see how much later on the brakes Juan Sanchez is. I mean, he nearly ran into the back of him again under braking for turn 4.
Yeah, those mediums are definitely coming into play now, especially with O'Reilly's older times.
Yep, no doubt about it. And Zaharov is quite a ways up the road, so I'm pretty sure 8th position is the absolute maximum for all 3 of these drivers. David O'Reilly has a couple of option runners behind him, though, so, I mean, you have to feel for the guy. It's not going to be easy for him whatsoever. And actually, Felix van Delft now is closer to Juan Sanchez than Sanchez. Oh, and he's going to go up the inside into turn number 10 hairpin. Fantastic move. Juan gives him the room as well. No contact made between them, and Felix moves up into P9. Yeah, that was great stuff. Great stuff from those guys. Giving each other the room, and let's see if Felix now can do the same thing to David O'Reilly here through the Mickey Mouse chicane into the final corner. I do believe he will get DRS here. Certainly looked like less than a second to my eye anyway, and he does. The DRS is open. He's pretty far back, as is Juan Sanchez. I don't expect Juan's going to do anything here. Let's see if Felix can do anything into turn 1. No, he cannot. And he's got plenty of laps still remaining, though. This is only lap 45, so once this is completed, he's got 4 more laps, which means 8 more DRS zones, so he's got plenty of opportunities here.
Exactly. One more thing to point out is Lucas Schmidt on the medium tyres is catching Felipe Giro by like 2 seconds a lap.
Holy cow. I mean, surely that's only a matter of time. I mean, let's Lucas Schmidt last lap putting in a 1:24.0. That is a very quick lap. Let's see what Felipe Giro did last lap, a 26.5.
They're going off.
Even more than 2 seconds is the difference. I think Lucas he's going to miss out on DRS for this lap. Yes, he is going to miss out on DRS for this lap, but it is only a matter of time. I do not see Giro defending that 5th place position. And then it's about 20 seconds back to Dimitri in 7th position. So I think Giro won't lose more than that. But Schmidt is flying on those fresh primes. I mean, he's going to get by eventually, surely.
It's just a matter of if he's got enough laps. It's 1.4 now as they cross the line.
And here comes David O'Reilly through the final corner. Again, he's got Felix Van Delft right behind him on those option tires. He's going to have the DRS open as well. David O'Reilly already moving to the right-hand side of the circuit to defend the inside line for turn number 1.
So many battles going on now.
He's going to make Felix work for it. He's going to have to try and go around the outside. But again, he's later on the brakes than Felix, and he kind of parks the bus on the apex as well. You really can't go around the outside at turn 2. It's hard enough trying to go around the outside at turn 1, going around the outside of turn 2 even harder. So again, David O'Reilly once again defending that position fantastically. You have to say David is driving very, very well. Oh, gets some understeer.
Very well defensively. He's really showing that he's got them. You know, as I like to say, the mentality to know what the drivers behind it and in front are doing. Oh, Lucas Schmidt's crashed.
Oh gosh, Lucas Schmidt. Let's get a replay of that. What has happened with Lucas Schmidt? Looks like at the exit of turn number 9, Lucas Schmidt has had some sort of issues. He's lost a wheel, in fact, his front right wheel, and I think he may have just gotten in. Yeah, he got into the dirty air coming into turn number 9. He was in that dirty air of Felipe Giro, and let's see what happens. Yep, he just gets a snap of oversteer. He corrects it. Oh gosh.
Wow.
I think he hit something invisible.
Oh, Pedro Gomez is out as well.
Oh, Pedro, what is going on, guys?
Oh my God, this is just mental.
Everyone, calm down. We only have one camera. What's going on with Pedro Gomez? He crashes out of the top 3, and is that at the exit of turn 3? Is that between turns 3 and 4? It looks like the grass at turn 3. What has gone on with Pedro Gomez? Going on board with him now. Has he run out of fuel? I mean, he went through turn 1 just fine. Goes through turn 2.
He ran out of fuel.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure he ran out of fuel.
Yep, he's making his way through turn 3 and just the engine dies. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, dear.
That is absolutely terrible. And all of a sudden, Eugene Van Lagerenberg finds himself in a podium position. Felipe Giro now back into 4th position on the one-stop strategy. I'm having a hard time. I'm struggling to keep up with everything that's going on, to be totally honest. In the closing stages of this race, it is getting very tense. The battle for what was 8th position is now a battle for 6th position. So I think David O'Reilly is going to be even more keen to defend that position from Juan Sanchez and Felix Van Delft. And at some point, Juan Sanchez passed Felix Van Delft. When did that happen? I don't know.
I think we got more caught up in the fact that Pedro and Lucas retired.
Oh my gosh, incredible scenes we're seeing at the end of this race here. Again, David O'Reilly defending the inside line heading into turn number 1, but they do not go side by side. Lap 48 now, just 2 more laps remaining after this one is completed. David O'Reilly now up into 6th position, Van Lagerenberg up to 3rd position, Felipe Giro into 4th, Dmitry Zaharov now into the top 5, despite getting close to being lapped, in fact. He's just making his way towards turns 7 and 8, and there's Antohovsky now just making his way towards turns 7 and 8. So Antohovsky
the gap is
looks
going down. The gap is going down, but it's not enough for him to worry about it, really.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. So yeah, I think I thought the finishing positions were pretty much set in stone for the top 5, top 7 even prior to these incidents. But again, if you're just joining us, if you just heard about the craziness that's going on in this race, Lucas Schmidt out of this race after a big slide through turn 9, and then he hit some sort of invisible wall or something at the exit of turn 9 after going off the circuit, lost his entire wheel at the front left of the car. And then Pedro Gomez ran out of fuel from the top 5. So those guys are out of this race, just is unbelievable. Antohovsky still leads this race. He's got an 11-second gap, so David Cook is closing in on him, but definitely not at a rate that is enough to catch up to him. And Mikhail Antohovsky actually beginning his final lap now. So final lap for
Felix
Mikhail
ran wide a little
Antohovsky.
bit in turn 3.
Oh, let's switch back over to the battle for P6.
There's so much going on.
Felix Van Delft, who was ahead of Juan Sanchez and at some point lost that position, trying to get back by Juan Sanchez here. David O'Reilly still defending that position fantastically. And this is their final lap, though, remember, because they are a lap down. So this is the final lap of the race for these drivers. This is their final opportunity. I'm not sure if they know it or not, but this is indeed their final opportunity to try and overtake one another. Or indeed,
struggling.
If you're David O'Reilly, this is your final opportunity to defend it.
Park the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And let's just quickly... Oh, no, in the background there. Yeah, so battling Felix Van Delft tries it up the inside at the turn 10 hairpin, but couldn't quite make it on Juan Sanchez. Mikhail Antohovsky coming through the chicane for the final time. He's going to pick up his second race win of the year, and he's going to take the lead of the championship. Fantastic, as Chris said. From Mikhail Antohovsky, he's going to win the race here at Circuit de Catalunya for the third round of FSR Pro 2016. Fantastic drive. David Cook as well is going to come home in second position. Let's see what's going on. David O'Reilly is going to defend that sixth place position. Juan Sanchez as well is going to defend from Felix Van Delft. So they finish in 6th, 7th, and 8th. Eugene Van Lagerenberg is going to grab the final podium position, although he's just now making his way towards Sector 3. And Felipe Giro, the one-stopper, once again.
How he pulled that off, I do not know.
Felipe, I mean, I think he has stolen all of the good luck from Chris de Jong. Every bit of bad luck that Chris de Jong has had, Felipe Giro has had good luck, and that is not to take away from Felipe Giro's skills whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
However, to put in a one-stop strategy for Felipe Giro to finish in 4th position, to avoid the carnage, to stay out of the crashes and everything. Fantastic drive from Felipe Giro. In the end, actually, yeah, and Adam Osger.
P9, not
as
too
we
bad.
mentioned, he started the race from 22nd. Exactly, and we were saying it earlier in the race, and I'll be the first to say I didn't even believe it. I didn't even believe my own words when I said Adam Osger could pick up some points here if he just hangs in there, and it's actually absolutely worked out for him. Adam Osger picking up a couple of points in 9th position, even though he was 2 laps behind. Felix Van Delft in that scrap for 6th position finishes last out of those 3 behind Juan Sanchez, just narrowly behind Juan Sanchez. Again, though, I'm not sure if those guys knew that was their last lap. I have to imagine. They remember. Surely they remember letting Antohovsky through. So I imagine they probably knew it. But
they probably knew they were.
I mean,
down,
in a hectic race, right? I mean, with so much battling going on, I can imagine it's easy to forget that you are in fact a lap down on the leader.
Exactly.
So, holy cow!
What race?
Wow, absolutely incredible racing here today.
Fantastic.
At the Circuit de Catalunya. Wow. And I think we are going to have to, extremely hectic. It was not easy for Chris and I. Yeah, very difficult. And George as well on the cameras. I feel for George.
I think I've learned a lot from my first pro race in Canada now.
Wow, unbelievable race.
Don't crash and run out. Don't crash and run out of fuel.
yeah, put in enough fuel and don't crash. Holy cow!
That's a strategy for it.
So the final standings for the Spanish Grand Prix. Mikhail Antohovsky takes the win, 10 seconds basically ahead of David Cook. Eugene Van Lagerenberg grabbing the final podium position, 2 ACR cars in the top 3. Felipe Giro grabbing that 4th place position after dropping down to 6th, essentially, grabbing 4th in the end on that one stop. Dmitry Zaharov in what was a bit of a quiet race. We didn't see him tons, but breaking into the top 5, great job by him. And, sometimes a quiet race is certainly preferred from a driver's standpoint.
Exactly.
David O'Reilly finishing ahead of Juan Sanchez, Felix Van Delft. Some fantastic defending from him to hold on to what was 8th and became 6th. Ahead of those 2 guys. Adam Osger, as we mentioned, started from 22nd position, finishing in 9th. Fantastic job from him. And Pascal Chapon finishing in P10, just grabbing some points there as well for him. And Vicentovic and Theodoros finishing the race, which
that's always a good point. It's just
exactly in a race where
finishing the race.
where let's see, 10 out of 22. I mean, that's like, I mean, that's nearly half. I mean, it's getting pretty darn close to half. So
there was a few unlucky people like Chris de Jong and Lucas Schmidt and all of that. But, you know, I'm sure that everyone here is going to come back stronger for the next race.
Yep. And we actually have the WC race coming up very shortly here. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Chris.
No worries. I'm more than happy to help out.
Yep, and thanks to George, who took care of the broadcast and the cameras. We hope you guys enjoyed the camera work and the commentary and the racing. Fantastic racing that these guys gave us here today. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yep.
Best race of the season
FSR
so far, I'm
boring.
going to go out and say. Truly great stuff. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. Please join us next time for the Canadian Grand Prix. Round 4 will be April 23rd and the 24th, and we will see you guys there. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.